Just everything. Yeah, you can join Liam. I'm just getting everything set up on my end. Give me 1 second. All right, cool. All right, I got everything set up on my end. Liam, I'm bringing you up now. Hey, Liam, what happened? You dropped out. Liam, I'm gonna invite you up again because you dropped out. I'm not sure what happened. All right. Kay, I do see you in the request box, but I'm gonna try to do more one-on-one tonight for a while. I'm gonna do one-on-one tonight for a little bit, and then I'll bring you up right after. All right. Alrighty. Let me see who's in the box. All right, Yanni, I do see you in the box. I'm gonna bring you right up real quick. Don't know what happened to Liam. Liam kind of just dropped out. I'm not sure what that is. Yanni, how's it going?
Good. What's going on, man?
I'm all right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with whatever I have in the and on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18, and yes, I disagree.
All right, cool. Um, Go ahead and let me know what you disagree with, and let's talk about it. I got 15 minutes on the clock. What's up?
The America was never great.
Yeah, I think America was never great because of its history and the way that it treated citizens. Why you disagree?
Its history and the way it treats its citizens.
Yeah, the history of America and the way that it's treated citizens and what it's done around the world has never been great.
How so?
All right, so we have a history of treating a certain group of people as second-class citizens, correct?
No,
What was Jim Crow?
I think this is your view of America. So, would you
Wait,
say
wait, no, no,
I?
no, 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 no. Answer my question. What was Jim Crow?
I'm not sure. Could you tell me?
Did you grow up in America?
Yeah.
So you know what Jim Crow is. Were you not in history class? Were you not paying attention what happens in the during the 50s and the 60s?
Well, I just I paid attention to other parts.
So you never knew that black people had less rights than white people in this country? You never knew that?
I did know that. Yes.
Okay, so you know about Jim Crow. Stop playing around.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't know the name. Right.
Okay, so that's what happened. Black people had less rights than white people. That's not great.
Right. So, I guess the title should say it was never great for black people then,
No,
because
it
it
was
wasn't great for you, but it was great for me, in my view.
so if it's not great for everyone, it can't be great.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't. Am I
If you
American or am I American or not?
if you drive a truck and I think it's great because it helps me with work, but for you, you don't need it because it's too big and it's a ban on gas, doesn't mean it's not great for everybody.
No,
Doesn't mean
that
it's
because
not a great truck.
that's not analogous. You know what would be analogous? Let's take a family, right? Let's take a family. The mother is a genius. The father is a genius. They have a multi-billion-dollar business and two kids who are geniuses themselves. Looks like a great family, correct?
Yeah.
What if the parents beat their children? Are they still a great family?
Yes.
Even though they're abused, even though they abuse their children?
Sounds like discipline. You say abuse, I would say discipline.
Yeah, that's not discipline. A
Sounds
father
like
touch a
discipline to me.
father touching his son is not discipline.
In which ways is he touching his son?
The way that I can't say safely on TikTok. If
Well,
the,
some kids everyone has to be disciplined different. Some kids can be talked to, some need to be more aggressive.
oh really? So
Yes.
PDF files on being a PDF file is discipline?
Oh, in that way, you're
Yeah, I
talking
said
about.
the way that's not safe on TikTok.
Well, I mean, if you physically
Okay,
is not
fine.
safe
A
on TikTok.
PDF a PDF file. Let's say the parents are PDF files. Are they still a great family?
That's not a great family, no.
Exactly. So in my analogy,
Well,
that's
wait,
what
wait, I'm
America
sorry. Well,
was. In my analogy,
ah,
that's what America was. Okay, let's even take away PDF files. Let's just say they're physically abusing their kids for no reason other than they just don't like them.
the
Is that a great
people
family?
who are doing the abuse are not great.
Exactly. And in my analogy, America is the people that are not great. That's what I'm talking about. America can't be
So,
great if it doesn't treat all of its citizens the proper way. If it doesn't uphold to its rule of law of treating everyone as like the pursuit of happiness and treating everyone as equal under the law, it cannot be great.
I understand. So, but what you're saying was the whole family wasn't great because the father PDF'd a child. So
Yes.
you're saying to the kid, you're not great because your father did that to you.
No, I'm not saying that the kid is not great. I'm saying your
You said the
family isn't.
family.
No, I'm saying the family isn't great, not the
What
kid.
consists of a family, sir?
The kid can be great, but the family unit isn't.
Why isn't the family? The family.
Because the father is abusing his children, so the
So the
family
father
isn't
is at
great.
fault, not everybody else.
I didn't say everybody else. I said the
said
family
family
unit.
side.
I said the family unit as a whole is not good.
What is a family? Can you define that?
A family is what you make of it.
Okay, I make of okay. A potato is my family. That's
Sure.
what I make. So these are all based on your own opinions. So
Yeah.
because right.
It is, but it's based on things that are factually true. Are they not?
Yeah, of course they're true. So
Exactly.
it wasn't
So
great
it's
in
not
your
great.
example. To me, it was great.
Right. It could be great to you, but what about me?
I guess not.
Exactly. So are
So
we
how?
living in the same country?
So yeah, but so how did the Jim Crow era affect you personally?
I'm less likely to get a job even if I have the same qualifications. We still live in we still live in the problems of under Jim Crow. For example,
Oh,
redlining. I'm
really?
more likely to live in a red line neighborhood because of Jim Crow.
Why? Because you think that way?
Not because I think that way, because it's true. Have you
That's
seen this?
it. What you're
Have you seen
explaining
the have you
kind of
seen the
sounds like
have you seen the research on it?
it sounds like white privilege is what you're trying
Have
to
you
say.
seen the research on it? That's all I'm asking.
Could you tell me where I could find it?
Okay, yeah, you can Google it, or you can put it in.
Google.
Yeah, you can Google it, or you can
I
put it
can
into
Google
Jet.
anything. Are
Yes,
aliens real? And
yes.
aliens are gonna pop up.
If you type in redlining right now, what are you gonna find?
Maybe a car redlining its engine. I mean, based on this my search and what I search, yeah, you're just giving me
No,
random
that's not
things.
how that's not how that works, bro. Okay,
It is how it works.
no, it's not. If you type in what was redlining in America, you're gonna see cars. You're not gonna see cars, bro.
Well, my statement to you would be: did you or did you not know that America was founded by Europeans for Europeans? So when some other culture comes here saying, "Well, why isn't it great for me?" Well, it wasn't built for you in the first place.
That's not greatness then.
It is great.
No, it's not, because slavery isn't great, is it?
Slavery happened. Is ancient Egypt great? Was ancient Rome great? Was
No,
anything great?
no. Ancient Egypt had slavery, so it wasn't great. Ancient Rome had slavery, so it wasn't great.
But look what they brought to to the future we have now. Look what they have accomplished. They are great.
No,
We
they're not.
can't accomplish what they accomplished. They are
Yeah, we
great.
can. We can
Can
build
we build?
pyramids. We can build a Colosseum.
Where are they at?
There's a pyramid in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, that's a little different.
No, it's not.
It's made of glass, sir.
So,
It was made of glass with machines, lights.
yeah, yeah. So,
So they didn't use machines, lights.
So?
So it's not great. It's just
yeah,
not
it
as
is.
So, but my thing is, what you're saying is America's never great, but I can tell you why it is great because we
Is slavery great?
we escaped the Europeans.
Is slavery
Who
great?
were trying to control us. We
Is
built
slavery great?
something- What is it?
Is slavery great?
No, slavery's not great.
Is committing genocide great?
No.
We did both things. How's that great?
Who did both things?
America.
Everybody in America did it?
I didn't say everybody in America. I said America.
So wasn't there about 3,000 slave owners in America at that time? That's it.
Doesn't matter. It was protected.
So those 3,000 people don't make everyone else bad.
I didn't say they make everyone else bad. I said it makes the country bad.
Yo, it's not making sense what you're saying.
Yeah, it is.
Hey,
People
it's
in
really-
people within a country can be fine, but the country itself can be bad. People are not the country. The government is the country. The state is the country. The laws are the country. People can be the nation, but doesn't mean they're the state.
Right. Okay.
Now,
So-
what socialism aims to do is make the people the state.
Well, okay. Well, look. By your own standards, the people who did bad things make America not great, right?
Correct.
But there was also people who were doing good. Doesn't that also make America good?
No, because the people who are doing bad,
So
the
it
people.
seems like you're just choosing.
Can I explain?
You're
The
just being
people. Can I
choosing.
explain to you? Because the
Yeah,
people who were
probably.
doing bad things were protected by the laws.
There was more people doing good here in this country than there were people doing
Were
bad,
they protected by the laws?
but you only see the bad.
Were they protected by the laws?
Yeah,
Because
because anything that
John Brown, when he tried to end slavery, was arrested for it, and the people that he tried to take out for committing slavery were rewarded. So America protected slavery. How's that great? America still has slavery now. How's that great?
slavery's all over the world.
I'm talking about slavery in America. We have it. How's that great?
That's not great. But the
Exactly.
country
So America
itself is
cannot be
great.
great. If
No,
we
I'm
still have
sorry.
slavery, we cannot be great.
Yes, we can. It's just
No, we
something
can't.
you have
Slavery,
to
you just said that slavery isn't great.
slavery is not great, but it's
So if
something
we
that humans do.
So
and
if
we
an
always will do.
well, I understand that, but if a country has that as an institution, how is the country great?
Because look what everything else they're accomplishing. You can
Irrelevant.
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It seems
I
that
don't
you
I don't care if we land on Saturn. If we still have slavery, we can't be great.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like there's more. Well, I'm not feel. There is more good going on in this country than there is bad.
Great. Let's get rid of the bad stuff, then we can be great.
We can't. That's just not possible.
No,
Humans have.
we can get rid of the bad stuff. We can not have slavery.
Where's their slavery?
Prison. It even says so in the 13th Amendment. Slavery is punishment for a crime.
So doing labor. Like if I get in trouble and I have to do community service for 3 days.
If you have to do community service is not what slavery is. The 13th Amendment literally says that if you commit a crime, you can become a slave. You don't see the problem there?
Well, don't commit a crime.
How about not be a slave?
well,
Because being a slave is a crime against humanity, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
So if you commit a crime, we're going to commit a crime on you. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, eye for an eye is what you're trying to explain. It sounds about right.
Eye for an eye is shitty because what does it leave?
It makes people not want to do crime.
No, it leaves the whole world blind.
So what should they do when they get in trouble?
They you should when you get in trouble, you should probably get punished, but you should be more rehabilitated because what causes crime is poverty, not just being a bad person.
Oh, so poverty causes crime. Like
Yes.
poor.
Yes, if you people who commit crimes in this country are more likely to be poor. Poverty is what causes crime. Every time we've alleviated poverty, everywhere we've done it, crime went down. So crime is connected to poverty. This is not just in America; it's all over. You see it in Canada, you see it in Europe as well. The people who commit the most crimes are the poorest.
So how do we make them the richest then?
We don't have to make them the richest. We just have to have equal opportunities.
So it seems to me from what I see that the richest people tend to work the hardest.
They don't.
So how do they become rich, sir? Luck?
A lot of them are just born into it, or they get lucky.
Well, if they're born into it, didn't that mean someone initially worked hard?
Not necessarily.
How do you get lucky to become rich?
Let's see. You could hit. If you don't hit the lotto, your business just takes off because it was
That's
successful.
It's a 1 in a million chance at the lotto, and a business taking off is due to hard work.
Not always, because you think. Do you think Walmart was the only person who had that idea?
No, but he's probably the only one who hustled at as hard as he did.
He didn't. There were plenty of people who hustled as much as he did and just lost. You can
They
do
didn't
everything. You can
do
do
it the
everything
right
right.
way.
You can do everything right and still lose. You understand that, right?
You can if you're still trying.
Yeah. So a lot of businesses who get up there are just lucky.
Man, yeah, with your attitude, you never get anywhere, and I think that's the biggest problem. Is the attitude you have?
I'm
keeps
fully
people in
employed,
poverty.
my friend. I'm fully
You have a
employed, my friend.
poverty type attitude, you'll never grow because you see the world in a negative view.
Hey, Yanni. I'm employed, I'm married, and I'm gonna have a child, and I own my home. So what the fuck are you talking about? Can you please not
That's
judge
what-
me? I didn't do that to you.
Sir.
Yeah,
You-
sir.
you-
No,
what
hold
you
on,
have
sir,
is amazing.
sir. Please respect me and don't assume shit about my life. God didn't do that to
But
you,
it's true. You're proving it by saying everything that you're saying. You only see the negative.
my friend. Can you not judge my life because I did not judge you?
I'm not judging you.
You just
If I
said
would-
that. You just said I'll never grow. You just said that, right? But you don't know me. You don't know me from a can of paint. So I didn't assume anything
Well,
about you, did
statistics
I?
say.
Hey Yanni, did I assume anything about you? I didn't, right? So don't do that to me, please.
Well, what would you assume about me?
I didn't assume anything about you. I don't know who the hell you are.
Yeah, but right. So you're telling me who you are.
You're right. So
You only see the negative.
the reason I told you who I am is because you said I'll never grow and never get anywhere.
But statistics say negative thinkers don't grow to anything.
Untrue. Statistics say that people who are in poverty are harder to get out of it. That's what the
Well,
statistics say. It doesn't say anyone with a mindset.
if you work hard, you can not be poor.
You can work hard and still be poor. The hardest working people are the working poor. The working poor is a thing. You know, you understand that, right?
Rich people commit crimes too.
Can you respond to what I actually said? Some of the hardest working people are still poor.
Because they're
If,
working.
if hard work was the only thing that you needed to in order to be rich, women in Western Africa in the trenches would be the richest people in the world.
Maybe they need to work smarter, not harder. There is ways out of it.
No, there isn't. That's why they move.
There isn't because your mind said there isn't, so there never will be. If you always say negative, then that's always it's what it's
Can
gonna
you
be.
can you tell me what a woman in the desert in Chad can do to work harder to get out of her situation with Islamists around her? Can you tell me what she can do? How much harder can she work? Go ahead and tell me.
She could get up and leave.
She has to leave Chad, correct?
Sure,
Right.
that's
Can
what you
she
gotta do.
afford to leave Chad?
Well, she works, doesn't she?
But can she afford to leave?
Well, if she saves, she can.
No. There are people who save for years and cannot leave. Do you know how my parents got to America?
She
They got
can get
lucky.
up and just walk away for free.
No. That's not how that works.
Why not?
Because she lives in the middle of a desert and she has responsibilities. She may have children. She, like you said, she works. She has to survive. She just can't get up one day and walk out of Chad. That's not how that works.
So she was born in poverty. She decided she waited all the way up until whatever age she was to have kids. Then she's stuck. Well, maybe she should have
She should have
thought
left at
beforehand.
16.
She should have programmed beforehand.
How? Tell me how.
You know, hey, I'm looking around. These people have kids. They're living poor. I don't want that, so I'm not going to be like that.
Yeah, and then what?
So I'm making choices.
Yeah, and then what?
Then you work as a young child. Now you have no kids, and then you save and you leave.
So child labor. She could go through child labor. She could die and get molested by the overseers.
Well,
Wow. What a wonderful choice.
it sounds like it's a problem.
And never get educated, never go to school. Wow. So without getting educated, never going to school, she's gonna somehow know how to get out. That makes sense.
Right. So I mean, I guess I can't blame that girl. I would blame the people before her.
Yeah, exactly. It's the society around you that causes less opportunities. So working hard, so-called working hard, does not just get you out of poverty.
So why are some countries not in poverty, like in Africa and for example, Italy and Chad? What's the
Imperialism.
difference? Why are they not in poverty?
Imperialism.
But what do you mean?
European imperialism. Europe went around the world enslaving people and taking their resources.
Well, didn't you say Egyptians had slaves? Weren't they doing the same?
No, yeah, Egyptians had slaves, but we're not talking about ancient Egypt.
So
That's actually part of the reason why Egypt was richer than its neighbors. Then it fell because it got invaded.
why don't Africa just take over slaves then to become rich? Imperialism. If you say that poverty's bad, the only way out of it is imperialism.
You really want me to say you really want me to actually respond to that? You really want me to say that just should have slaves?
So
Really?
so how can you fix Chad in Africa then?
The way you fix Chad in Africa is to end neocolonialism and have them control their own resources, not slavery. That's
So
stupid.
are you saying you take the white man out of there?
Yes.
But how are they going to do that?
They should do that by banning the French, which is which is what they already plan to do. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead.
That's
Your
not
15
great
minutes are
though.
up. Yeah,
Banning
yeah,
people is
yeah.
not
It is.
great.
Yeah, it is. Let me go ahead and move
Oh,
on to the
now
next
it
guy.
is.
Let me go ahead and move on to the next person. I appreciate you being up here, Yana. Your 15 minutes are up. All right, guys. I appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing it. We got 98 people in here. I appreciate you all. We're gonna go ahead and bring up the next guest, EJ Smith. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I am. I haven't read all of them yet. Let's see. Bible, true holy books are not evidence. I would. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't say I fully disagree with everything. I think there's some contextual things that need to be addressed in them, but yeah, in general.
All right, sure. What do you disagree with? And let's go ahead and talk. What do you disagree with?
Well, I want to start with at least two of them look to use phrases like great or good. So are we supposing that there is an objective target, right? If we're going to use words like great or good or bad, worse, better, all those kind of descriptors, then we're presupposing that there is a target, right?
I would say the target is equal opportunity and treatment for all of its citizens. Sure.
Right.
No matter their race, religion, creed, color, sexual orientation, or gender identity.
Right. So, but if we're going to set a target, we have to ground why that target is good, right? Like, because we're humans, right? Me and you are both like the same. We're equal.
Mhm.
Are we? And if I just say that that's not the target, like if I say there is no objective target, there's just we're all going toward maybe a heat death or something like that. If I were to say that,
Well, I said what the target is already. So
yeah, but if I say the target is different, then we're just at an impasse because we're equal. We have equal standing.
well, then we have to talk about why is your target greater than my target?
Well, that's what I think my ultimate point is that no human sets the target for ultimate good or evil or purpose.
Okay, so
The creator of the universe sets that target.
What are you talking about? We're talking about America was never great.
I know, right? But to be great,
All right, so none of that has anything to do with anything I'm talking about. Why do you if you think America, if you disagree that America was great, tell me why.
well, because if I make the target that greatness is becoming independent from another nation and conquering new land or taking land, like I could make great. If great is subjective, I can make the target whatever I want, and then therefore
Okay,
I can
so
make
what
the
is great
claim
to
that
you?
America's great.
Okay, so what is great to you?
Okay, so if I say great is overtaking land for the betterment of your people and giving yourself independence from another kingdom, for example. Let's just say I say that, then America conquered that objective. So therefore, they're great. That's why the statement's not really it's not a good claim.
All right, cool. So if you're thinking that just making yourself independent and conquering someone else is what makes greatness, what conquerance entailing anyone else? Does it conquer genocide and slavery?
It doesn't have to.
Okay, so how do you conquer someone else if you're not gonna take out the people?
I mean, that's been the typical human behavior. I mean, I think there are potentially other
Right.
ways.
I asked you how to do it without taking out the people. How do you do it?
Well,
You
you
can't.
could just go relocate them.
Yeah, that's
potentially.
genocide.
I didn't say kill them.
Right.
Oh, you
no,
said
but,
genocide, not
that,
genocide.
that is part of genocide. Removing
Yeah,
people
so-
from their indigenous land is genocide.
Yeah, sorry, I misinterpreted for genocide. Sorry.
No, no, it is, but you can't use that word on TikTok. But that's
Oh.
what it is. Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
part of
no.
genocide. Removing people from their lands because you're gonna have to eliminate them in order to do that.
Yeah, but I don't have a dictionary in front of me, but it has to be. You also have to be part of that group. So genocide can't be an external person coming in and doing it. It has to be an internal source, right?
No.
Can we? I don't know if I can get off here and look at the definition. Can you look up the definition of?
What Mustache Man wasn't part of the group that he went after, correct?
Nationality, yes.
Yeah, he was part of the nationality, but he was not part of the ethnic group.
Yeah, but
So an
there has to
external
be a
person-
common.
Right.
There
So
has to be a common.
an internal no, that doesn't. Doesn't have to be a common nation. Doesn't have to be common anything. It just has to be two different groups.
Then what's the definition? Because that's how it's always been used. There has to be a common, like you wouldn't call it genocide or geocide if we went to India and just slaughtered a bunch of their people.
That is
That would just
geocide.
be- How? I've
Geocide is
understood the definition for a very long
genocide
time.
is the deliberate destruction of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Like deliberately destroying them. So if we were to go to India to deliberately
Oh, so you
destroy
have
a
to-
certain
so you
caste
have to
system,
put the common
it's
group.
geocide.
Gotcha. Okay. I just
Right.
I don't think it's been used in that.
Yeah, it has. That's how it's done. I actually read you the definition from the Geneva Convention, so it's internationally recognized as that. So if we were to go to India and remove Indians and eliminate Indians for deliberately like targeting Indian territory to eliminate them, that would be geocide. And
Yeah, so what
America has done.
Palestine-
And America has done. Yes, what the Star Nation is doing to Palestine is geocide. That's exactly what they're doing.
And
But,
what Palestine did to them on October 7th or whatever it was would be the same thing.
if they're deliberately trying to eliminate people, like eliminate the entire ethnic group,
Right,
then yeah,
they've
that
been
would be if they're trying to completely eliminate the ethnic group, then yeah, it will be geocide.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that I don't disagree that's a negative thing. My point is that if the target is subjective, then your claim can never be non-refutable
So
because I can just change the target.
yeah, you can change the target, but that's just moving the goalpost, isn't it?
Right, but there's no way to make the goalpost like
Yeah,
Like, game.
we can just keep asking questions. How is conquering people great?
how is conquering people great?
Yeah,
Because
is
it
it-
gives
how
me
is
more
eli-
power. I believe it's great to have power, and I
Right.
say that.
So eliminating groups of people is greatness because so eliminating women, children, and innocent people is great because you get more power. That just makes you an asshole.
Sure. Right. And I'm not saying those things are not, I don't think they're not true. What I'm saying is if you're of the opinion that there's not an objective truth, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at. Do you believe in any kind of objective truth?
No.
If you don't, then it really doesn't, like, we're literally just two humans moving the goalpost back and forth, and there is never going to be it's a constant, like what we have, what you're seeing, and all the history you're talking about is the reason, because this group of humans decide to do it now. And then they're like, no, that was a bad idea. Let's not do that. Let's do it this way. And then
Okay,
they
but so
change it
what?
and do it that way.
Okay, so what?
What I'm saying is that something like geocide is inherently evil, regardless of who did it, why they did it. No human.
I agree. I agree. So where are we going? I really don't understand where we're going in this discussion. What are we talking about?
I think you should. It doesn't
Like
seem like
you're saying that just because like I don't believe in like objective morality, therefore I can't say America was never great. I can still make value judgments.
you can make one, but it doesn't make it like, for example.
Yeah, it doesn't make it absolutely true. So what?
So then you're just having discussions with people, which is fine. I mean, if that's ultimate, but then there's no purpose in any of the discussion.
Yeah, there is. This the purpose is to understand each other and see what I mean by America was never great, and see why you think it was, and for us to come to a conclusion. If we understand each other's position better, then we can have a fruitful discussion and try to get somewhere as a better, like try to get to a better society. But if we're just saying, oh well, you can't prove objectives, therefore there's no discussion. What are you here for then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I say whatever I say with whatever goalpost I want, and we can never come to a conclusion, like me and you as two separate people, then there is no way to go to better, because to define better, you have to have a common target, right? Like, is it better to be on this side of the water or that side of the water? Y'all are going to have to conclude that I like it over here better because the sun comes up and it doesn't, whatever the thing is.
What we'll have to see is which one of our targets is more effective for all of society, because we're not just living on islands. We're living in a society. So what is better for our society? I don't think conquering people and committing genocide is good for our society, because not only are you eliminating a whole group of people, but you wouldn't want that to happen to you. So just pure common empathy will tell us that's not a good thing to do. Now, if you disagree with that, you have to tell me, why do you disagree with that?
Well, I think empathy does, but I think that that points toward objective truth. But the problem is that that's a subjective standpoint. Like for, I would say we've benefited.
Okay, but
You
who
may not like
cares?
it, but we've benefited from it. And so,
Yeah, but it was still bad. Yeah, I benefited from genocide because now I live in a first world country, but it was still a bad thing to do.
right. So the only way you can like correct it is just to give up the things that you've gained from it.
Yeah, we should do land back.
Right. And then like,
Yeah, the Native Americans
Yes.
should get reparations.
and well, no, they can just leave. Everybody can leave that doesn't like it,
No,
I guess.
the Native Americans shouldn't leave. They were here first.
Well, then everybody else could leave if they don't like it. Like
Great.
you'd have to go. How do you turn back the clock?
You
That
can't
many
turn back
times
the
on
clock, but you
that
can
many
rectify
events?
what you've done. You can't turn back the clock, but you can rectify what you've done. If I punch you in the face, then I can't turn back the clock and unpunch you in the face, but I can't give you an apology and rectify the situation of what I've done.
Right. And if I didn't harm you, why would I rectify the situation of something that 4 generations ago did?
We're not asking you to fix anything. We're asking the government.
But the government's funded by the people here. Government doesn't
Yeah.
inherently have money.
And whenever the government, thanks for the hat and mustache, y'all. And whenever the government has damaged the community, they've always fixed it, right?
I wouldn't say always fixed it.
They haven't always, but when we pursue
There's
for
been
them to
attempts.
fix it, whenever we pursue for them to fix it, they have, correct? Like they did with the Japanese.
And yeah, right. But I wouldn't say we haven't fixed it at all. It's not like we just left it alone.
Right. So what I'm saying is that whenever a government, if the government does damage, are they not responsible for fixing it?
If I mean, yeah, I guess in
Right.
In
So
general,
the
that's
government
true.
was responsible for damaging the African American community. Why shouldn't they fix it?
well, there has been work to fix it,
Like,
like all of the civil rights movement.
yeah, civil rights, and then what else? Because like black people were African Americans weren't just politically and socially damaged; they were also economically damaged. So what are they
Right,
gonna do about the
but-
economic damage?
Right. And is part of that economic damage self-inflicted or not?
No,
No.
black people did not come up with redlining. That was the government.
Right. So like so I've seen some like research on this, but I've not dug into it deeply, so maybe you have. But like why is the family unit so different among that community say now than it was in the say 30s or 40s?
Because women
What
could divorce now when women could leave abusive men now.
Right. So they were always abusive. There was always an abusive relationship, but they can leave now.
Right.
Is the difference?
Right.
So
the family unit had to stay together because women couldn't own bank accounts back then. Like the
Right.
family unit looks different for all of us, not just for all demographics, not just black people.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Like what I think there's more self-inflicted damage than being accounted for. I'm not saying there's not been policies or things put in place that have hindered a certain population at times for different, spans of time, but to say that there should be some kind of blanket reversal of something without any accounting for any personal decisions, right? Because like
Like what?
like for example, like if you're talking about poverty, like poverty is not does not
You
have
think
like ethnic lines.
Do you think poverty is a systemic issue or just a personal moral failing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's elements to both. I don't think it's purely systemic, but I don't think it's purely like you can make the right choices and get a bad break in life, right? Like some kind of medical thing or just
Mhm.
bad, series of events.
And
but-
or you can be born into it and have poor education and therefore you end up being a poor person.
Right. What I'm saying is that I don't think that has ethnic ties fully. Like I don't know how
it does.
how much rural, maybe Kentucky or West Virginia you visited, but
No, it's happened to them too. But poverty in this country has always been tied to race because Black African Americans were purposely made poor, like on purpose.
but it's not always been tied to race because otherwise there wouldn't be poor white people
No, there's
or
poor
poor
white.
Hispanic people.
No, there's poor white and Hispanic people. I'm not doubting that. What I'm saying is that for African Americans, it was purposely made that way for them to be poor, purposely.
In what way? By the redlining and stuff that you're talking about?
Redlining by Jim Crow, by giving them less resources and education, etc.
Yeah. Which some of that has been fixed with like, which I guess it recently got overturned with the affirmative action stuff.
Yeah, affirmative action didn't overturn redlining. Like redlining is still affects the community. All right, we're about to run out of time. We're at 15 minutes, but I do appreciate you being up,
All right.
EJ. All right,
No problem. Have a good night.
have a good night. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. We have 8.5K likes, 6 people up. Y'all, the reason I don't pay attention to all the people who are ranting and raving in the comments is because you actually need to come up and request and have an argument. All right, so don't just yap in the comments. If you think I'm wrong about something, if you think I'm lost, go ahead and request. Bird, how's it going? Bird, you there? Hey, Bird, are you there? All right, Bird isn't there. We're waiting for the next person to come on up. Giant, you there?
Sorry, give me a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead and request whenever you can pull over. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and invite some people up because y'all just seem to be yapping in the comments, and like I said, I don't just yap in the comments. If you actually have an argument, come on up. All right, y'all. So we have about 9K likes, 65 people in here. Go ahead and keep liking. Go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing it. I appreciate everybody who's sharing and everybody who's commenting. I do see people over on my YouTube. Hey, shout out to my YouTube, y'all. Shout out to the YouTube comments. I appreciate y'all being here. Like I said, go ahead and share it. I do have a gift goal. I do have a subscription goal, y'all. If you could, if you like this commentary and then y'all like what I do and y'all like to see me do more of it, go ahead and please subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Hey, Melanin Chick, what's going on? She's over on my YouTube. Shout out to my YouTube, y'all. Say what's up. Say what's up to the YouTube family. Let's see who else is here. And just like I said, I'm gonna invite people up. If you just like yap in the comments, I don't like yapping in the comments. I don't like ops just cussing me out in the comments because I don't pay attention to that. All right. So actually, come on up. Actually, come on up. We're 1981. I appreciate that, man. Keep liking the comments, and we'll go ahead and you know, get some good discussions going. All right, we have another request. Hey, Joes, how's it going? You finally catching it? I appreciate that. Scotty, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm all right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, please.
Are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I'm over 18. Explain the last one a little bit for me. Dem, socialism, capitalism.
Yeah, we're at the point of that capitalism, I think, has outlived its usefulness because it's just about exploitation and it's going towards fascism at the moment. So what Dem socialism is basically gaining socialism through the democratic process, and socialism is just the common ownership of the means of production and allocation of resources. So that means that the workers are the ones who control more of the economy than just, you know, private actors and corporations and their shareholders. And we don't believe that business should or industry should just be driven for profit, because if all you have is the profit motive, then that means that the needs of the people are going to come second to that profit motive. And we believe that the economy should work for the people and not just money.
Okay, so I guess this is a point where I would disagree, specifically because if I build a company and I say put out, you know, job paying X number of dollars, and you accept the terms of that, You don't get to own any part of the company. You collect their salary and raise your family or do what it is you do. If you want a collective, then start a business as a collective.
Yeah, sure. What we believe is that the entire economy should be run that way. Everything should be a collective,
So you
or at
want
least
government-
unions should have. Hey, Giant, I'm gonna bring you up next. All right, or at least unions or like what the needs of the workers should be represented in the company as well.
So do you want the government to be the national parents or something? I mean, I don't understand.
I didn't say anything about the government. I said unions.
Right, but we're still talking about leadership, and so union still going to be a rep of the people, right?
Yeah, unions will be a rep of the
Government
people. What
is, right?
what I'm saying is that the workers should have a say in how the company goes as well because they're just as affected by it. Are they not?
They don't own any part of it. They should have no say.
Oh, okay. So if a manager wants to feed their workers poison, the workers should have no say.
An extreme example, right?
That happened.
Human nature.
That's why unions came about.
I mean, that's human beings, though. That's not
Right. But what I'm saying is that this is why unions came about because we know that corporations do evil things that their workers don't agree with. So why shouldn't they have a say?
They can move on to a different job.
That's not is how feasible is that?
Just as feasible as a dream where you come to my company and you own something because you did 8 hours of labor.
But we're not saying to own it. Obviously, what we're saying that they should have a part in how it's ran. Why shouldn't they?
Large corporations do have people that take census among the employees and offer them a say in how things run.
And they don't listen because it doesn't make profit, does it?
You said they don't listen. You're generalizing, and you're too old for that. I respect you way too much to even accept that from you.
Yeah, I am generalizing a bit. I appreciate all the gifts, y'all. I am generalizing a bit, but I am generalizing a bit because this is how it normally ran. Most companies are ran by the shareholders, and the workers really have no say in how it's ran.
No, that's why they hire CEOs. Those who run the company.
CEOs don't work for the actual workers. They just do whatever the company wants.
Right.
Right.
That's
So
that's their job is to increase production, bottom line.
right, and that's how we end.
Shareholders are shareholders because they actually did contribute,
Mm-hmm.
not like an 8-hour employee. They actually contributed.
Wait, how do shareholders just contribute more to the bottom line than the employee? The
Because
shareholders don't work for the company. The employees
they
do.
purchased the shares.
They purchased the shares, but they didn't produce anything in the company.
The money that they purchased the shares becomes capital from investments in the company to grow and do bigger and better things.
But the
That's how it
production
works.
that the workers put into the product, that's the one that feeds the bottom line, not just the shareholder.
What do you mean feeds the bottom line?
The product that the workers actually make and sell to the public, that's where the most of the money is coming from. So most of the value of the company is by their products or their services.
Have you built a company yet?
Say that again?
Have you built a company yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so was your company large enough that you offered shares?
No, because it was just a dry cleaners. It was like years ago, me and my dad.
Okay,
And
so
we had to sell it because of the recession.
with major corporations, depending on what the product is, either they're going to sell shares by taking the company public. That's going to create a board, and you know how all that works. But that's the capital that
Right.
train. That's the capital that allows the factory to be built, the machines to be in place, the protections on the floor, whatever is necessary. All the employee is doing is showing up, especially if it's an unskilled widget where you're just pressing buttons on a machine. I mean, it just, I understand the philosophy that you're expounding because
But
that
the
was,
problem is this is not how the majority of companies are doing things. Like it's not just people pressing the machines. Like the products that the workers make, they go on to feed the bottom line way more than. I understand what you're saying about the shareholders and that's how they build up capital. Like I'm not saying that the shareholders are not important to build up that capital. What I'm saying is that the workers who are actually making the product and building value into the product, it sells more than what. Like the value that they put into the product is worth more than what they're actually being paid. and that gap needs to close. And number two, when the company does things that the workers don't agree with, why shouldn't they have a say in that? Why is it only the shareholders doing it for profit? I could give you a perfect example. Nestle, for example, caused, like, they poisoned water in Africa in order for the mothers to buy Nestle water products. They actually, unalived people, unalived babies in order for more profit. You're saying that the workers shouldn't have a say in how that was done?
I'm saying if Nestle poisoned water, then Nestle, whoever did it, should be in prison.
Right, but they're not going to prison because because they made profit, and they can use that profit to buy off people. But if the workers had a say, they would get arrested, wouldn't they?
No,
Why not?
by your own example, if they're rich and powerful, then nobody's going to stop them. But
No,
that's your
people-
example.
No, people can stop them. The reason they haven't been stopped is because they buy off politicians.
Right. But that's our system, right?
Yeah, so our whole system needs to change. Our whole system is ran for profit when it should be ran for the betterment of the people.
And you don't think that that's a pipe dream?
No, we've done it before. Human society has done it before. We have the
Not in
technology to do it.
America.
Yeah, not in America, but that's the problem.
Technology displaces those low wage, low skilled employees.
That's why I said America was what? Never great.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I
so
agree. I just don't think that socialism, by its very definition, is the way we need to go. It won't work.
why
It's
not?
going to stifle the creativity. It's going to stifle the growth in companies.
Why
I
hasn't
mean,
it, but how come it hasn't done that in China then?
what do you mean?
China is basically a socialist economy. So
Have you been
why
to
hasn't it done
China?
that in China?
Have you been to China?
I've never been there. No.
You need to visit. Those people are slaves.
Like in working in sweatshops and stuff like that, right?
Not just the sweatshops, even the people that farm, the people that have little shops and individual owned shops, they're not free people at all.
Wait, so the Chinese people aren't free at all? Like they can't?
No,
What they cannot do?
they can't do anything if the government don't allow it.
Like what?
Like take a vacation, like travel,
Yeah, they can.
not without government permission. They cannot.
Like what? They need a visa from the government to go somewhere else.
No, we're not talking about visa. We're talking about permission, actual permission.
No, they can.
No, they cannot.
There's need visas. They can leave the country if they want.
No, they cannot. They cannot. And when you go
What
to
what do they need from the government in order to travel to America?
you need a visa to travel internationally, of course. They'll allow
Yeah.
them to get that, but they need permission to even apply for it.
They need permission from the government to apply for a visa.
Chinese people are slaves, brother.
All right, hold on. Chinese people need permission from their government in order to apply for a traveler's visa to another government.
Yes. They cannot just go down to the office and fill out a form, get approved, and jump on a plane. They cannot do that.
Yeah, that happens here.
Yeah, we do that here.
Yeah, so does that mean that we're slaves?
No, we can go down and fill out a form, pay the $200 or whatever it is now, get the visa, and go anywhere that's permissible.
And that's what they do in China, is it not?
No,
What do they do in China?
you're not understanding me, or you're not wanting to accept what I'm saying.
All I asked you was, what do they do in China, bro?
They cannot move freely.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't even think freely.
They can move freely over in China. What are you talking about?
In China, if you have a job with a corporation or a company and you say, you know what, I don't like this job, I'm gonna go look for another job, you can't even do that.
Yes, they can.
You cannot.
Nah, you're completely making that up. People change jobs in China all the time.
You know that.
Bro, if people cannot move freely in China, how does someone move from Beijing to Hong Kong and back? They can do that.
Takes permission, especially to go to Hong Kong, because
Hong Kong has a different. No, Hong Kong's under Chinese control now. They just have a
Chinese
different.
control,
It's
but
a,
it still has a different mechanism the way the government works there.
right. But what I'm saying is
Why
that
you can visit there without any restrictions, but you can't go into mainland China.
right. Are you saying that someone can't go from Shanghai to Beijing? They can't do that.
Not without permission.
Nah,
Just
that's
like
wrong. So
back in the
why is
day.
why is there a train station between Beijing and Shanghai if they can't move
Because some
without
people
permission?
work. Because some people work.
So they don't need permission. What are you talking about?
If they work there, they have permission through their companies. You need to visit. You need
Bro,
to go
hold
see
on,
it
hold
for
on. Do
yourself.
you understand what like you understand what I mean by freedom of movement, right? Like I live in Central Florida. If I wanted to go to South Florida and back, I can do that, right?
And if you want
That's
to go
freedom
to
of
New York,
movement.
then
So are you
that's-
saying that over in China, like they can't hop in their car, drive to Shanghai and then drive back to Beijing? They can't do
cannot
that?
leave their province without permission.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
not.
They can. They definitely can.
Yeah.
That's a lie. They can't do that in North Korea, but they can definitely do that in China.
Very similar. They cannot.
No, they can't. I mean, no, it's not. Yes, they can. They can move around their provinces because they don't. The Chinese system and the North Korean system are
They move
completely
around
different.
within their province. They can't travel from one province to another.
Yeah, they can. You're thinking about North Korea. North Korea doesn't allow that. China does.
China does not.
Their economy wouldn't work if that was the case.
Their economy doesn't work.
Yeah, it does. They're the number one economy.
Those people are struggling.
What?
They are literally struggling.
96% of Chinese are homeowners.
Have you seen them?
All right, bro.
They're shanties.
All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next guest. Giant was here first. I'm gonna move on to after Giant is gonna be Bold and Bird. Actually, Bird, you were here, right? All right. So it's gonna be Giant and it's gonna be Bird and it's gonna be Bold. All right. Giant, I'm gonna bring you up right now. Giant, how's it going?
Going well. How about yourself?
All right. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I am over 18, and I suppose the thing I disagree with most on there is do not monologue. Do not take friendlies.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Do you only talk to ops?
I usually only talk to ops, and you're echoing a bit.
Just a moment. Let me put in my headset. Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, that's better. All right. Yeah, I usually only talk to ops. Are you a friendly?
Yeah, I'm friendly.
All right. Yeah, that's not a problem. But I'm gonna bring someone who I think is an op up. Okay. Bird, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you up right now, and then Bold, you're gonna be after Bird. All right. So just give me a second, Giant. All right, Bird, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I'm over 18, yes, and I don't disagree, but I have a question about
Sure.
one of those that I don't fully understand. So the reparations,
Mhm.
I would love to know what, and I don't disagree. I think that there should be, but what I'm confused about is what do you feel like, because you're part of the disadvantaged demographic more, what do you feel like would be appropriate reparations for us to get on a level field?
I think basically financial restitution and the complete dismantling and building of systems that that cause oppression and continue to cause it. So essentially financial restitution, then yeah, cut the check, give them what they were owed for not just slavery, but for redlining, etc., and dismantling of institutions that cause these issues. For example, we have the criminal justice system that's built upon slavery. We need that to be dismantled. We have policing that's built upon racism that needs to be dismantled and rebuilt. That doesn't mean completely abolish police, but the way that we do policing today needs to change, and we need to look into all systems of like employment. Basically, because we do see discriminatory employment in place right now. How to fix that is probably we would need to probably take extreme measures, like companies that are caught being racist should lose their license. That's what I actually believe in. But there can be other ways to rebuild that. But essentially, those are the two main ways: financial restitution and rebuilding systems that have caused discrimination. I think one of the main ways exactly is right now education with our high schools. It's funded through property taxes, but we know through redlining that areas that are majority black are going to have less money to send to those schools because of the property taxes. So that entire system needs to be changed. And we also see when white students go to predominantly black schools, the school gets more money. So we know that the funding to schools is tied to race, and that needs to end as well.
Okay. I had one little bit. It's not a bad disagreement, but I just wanted to point out. One of the mods in the chat said that you're talking about only people from prior to 1964. Is that true?
Like black people who were here prior to
Right.
1964. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So what about the people who weren't though? I mean, because don't they suffer too?
Yeah, we've faced discriminations as well. Like my parents came in the 70s, they suffered through racism as well, just not as much, and it wasn't as concentrated on us as it was for African Americans. If we should get reparations, then if we're gonna be included in reparations, then I think it should be on a tier basis. That's if it happens. I think the people who should be controlling the reparations conversation and the movement, like in writing out the policy, should be African Americans themselves. If they decide to include us, then it'll probably be on a tier basis. Like they'll get a certain amount of reparations, and then we'll be right after them getting another sort, which I'll be fine with. But most likely they wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't even mind, because because right now people who are immigrant born like myself, we're around African American community. We're part of the African American community. We're mostly with them like culturally and everything like that. So even if I don't get any type of financial restitution, I would still benefit from them getting reparations just from proximity. What's up, Dugol? I appreciate it.
Okay, I agree with the tier system. I didn't agree with the no. They're so disadvantaged.
Yeah, I understand that. A lot of people would rather the tier system. There's even a lot of African Americans who say, yeah, it should be a tier system, which I don't mind at all. If that's what they decide to do, then I wouldn't mind that at all.
Okay, I guess we're in agreement then. You could drop me. Thanks.
All right, not a problem. Appreciate you being up here, Bird. All right, let's go to Bold, and then Rich Poor. We're gonna go to you next. All right, right after Bold. All right, y'all. While Bold is coming up, I appreciate you all being here. We got 12.2K likes. Let's go ahead and try to get the likes to 15K within the next 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and try to get to 15K in the next 5 minutes, or Jonesy will shut off the comments if we don't. All right, y'all. So y'all see the topics of discussion. Shout out to everybody who's watching me on YouTube. Hey, Burns, how's it going? Joe's, how's it going? I appreciate y'all being here. Go ahead and share and like this live. Bold, how's it going?
Not bad, man. How you doing, friend?
I'm all right. So I'm not sure if we got a chance. Well, this is going to be a part 2 for us because we talked last time. So let's go ahead and put some time on the clock once more, and we'll go ahead and talk. Last time you disagreed with, well, not disagreed really, but you want to talk to me about why should I believe in God and faith being unreliable. That's what you want to talk about again?
Yeah, man. That lady cut me off, you know?
All right, sure. Like, we can go ahead and talk about it again. So last time you said I should believe in a God because of what I see around me. Now, again, what I see around me is basically existence, but I don't think just things existing implies that there's a God. I don't think you ever got out why you think that does. Why do you think that does?
Yeah, it's just, I just feel like, we're maybe you are taking this existence for granted of the magic and the miracle of what is in front of you. You see what I mean? The other time you were saying, oh yeah, I see my house, I see my this, but you have to understand the miracle and the magic that is really, really going on in this vast universe of just straight chaos. And this whole thing that's so organized and feeds itself and sustains itself is such a miracle, and it's such a build that there's no way that this can just happen just out of the blue. You see what I mean? So that's why I meant that, this is, existence is the evidence.
Right. You see, this is what I meant by the look at the trees argument, like the people are saying in the comments. When I say look at the trees argument, is basically people saying that, hey, look all around you, and all of this is somehow a deliberate build of a creative force. However, what is the evidence of that being the case? Like, existence exists, right? Existence is amazing. yeah, sure, things are extremely pretty. You know what I mean? Like the universe, when I look out, like my favorite science is space science. The universe is gorgeous. Like I love how the universe looks. I love the nebulas, everything like that. I wish that I could survive one day to touch Mars, right? I probably won't live to touch Mars, right? So all this looks amazing and everything like that. But how does that imply a God? This could all just be a natural process. Like for example, I like rain. Rain is beautiful, but rain is a natural process of our planet. There's nothing deliberate about rain. So why are we assuming that the
Why do you
universe
think
also has
it's
to be
not
deliberate?
deliberate? Why
Because
do
we
you
know,
think it, because that
we know
is what
the reason.
fuels a lot of things.
Right. The reason why I think rain is not deliberate is because we know the process. Like condensation happens, things evaporate, they become clouds, they fall to Earth, and then it starts all over again. They evaporate, they go become clouds, it falls to Earth, happens all over again. We see the natural process happening. So, and we can test the natural process as well. There's nothing deliberate there involved. If something is like if something is deliberate, we can usually tell. We can actually always tell when something is deliberate because we can test it out. But right here, when it comes to natural processes, we see it happen. It doesn't need to involve us at all. So like
So what about,
what I
what
always
about
ask is, why does the universe have to be deliberate and not a natural process that we don't understand yet?
I just cannot see it being a natural process because natural processes are usually chaotic. They don't they don't form in an organized way. You know, if you put the natural order of the universe is disbursement, is chaos, it's to spread apart. You see, uh, and this is just way too organized of a an existence to think that it just happened. You know,
But organization, what I'm saying is organization can come from chaos. That we've seen that happen.
how?
Ice. If you look at the molecules in water, right? The molecules in water are all spread out and moving around. But the moment the temperature gets colder, what does the water does? It condenses and it forms like organized change. Like and nothing had to happen for that to happen. All that had to happen was it moving to a colder temperature. That's
The
really it.
temperature change. Yeah, but that doesn't explain the spark of life. That doesn't explain meaning. That doesn't explain consciousness. It doesn't explain, the chaos does not. It just cannot derive that sort of organization. Yeah, it can derive an organized pattern, but not life. Life is is got meaning.
Right.
We're not just out here robotic. For instance, I'll give you an example, right? Like, if you talk to the average scientist, they will say, back in the day, in the Cro-Magnon days, we had to forage for food. And as a result, we had to eat as much as we could because there was food scarcity and that sort of thing. If that was the case, then evolution would evolve us humans to be that the fattest person was the most desirable. You see what I mean? But that's not the case. Somebody that's big and overweight is not the most desirable. You see what I mean? We are being tested by God, you know, to not be gluttons. You see
All
what I'm
right.
saying?
The reason why overweight people are not the most desirable is because that actually explains in natural selection. When it came to when we were a hunter-gatherer society, if you
Right?
were more in shape, you were more likely to survive. So being obese implies that you're not as healthy. Now
That
it's
implies
not
that you
always,
have
hold on,
more
hold on,
food.
let me finish. It's not always the case that an obese person is unhealthy because I'll just say a fatter person is unhealthy because we see that with football players and we see that with singers like Lizzo. She's a bigger woman, but she's way healthier than I am because I can't do everything that she does, most definitely. So like your weight is not always an indicator, but it can be. You see what I'm saying? So the reason why that we take those as less desirable is because it's inherently in us that those people won't survive. Just like how taller people are inherently more attractive because like it's in us to think that those people are going to survive more. You see what I'm saying? It's all based on our reptile brain being based on survival. You see what I'm saying? So this actually shows that evolution, this actually, us finding, more quote unquote in shape and taller people attractive actually implies evolution. It doesn't imply the other thing.
Actually, taller people survive less because their hearts have to work extra and they die quicker.
Right, but the when we were when we were out there being hunter gatherers, that's only true in our modern society. When we were out being hunter gatherers, they actually survived more.
I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sure about that. I mean,
There's a
lot of
reason
things-
there's a reason the average height of men is 5'10".
Well, because shorter survives better, but we select for taller. You see what I mean?
We
So,
selected for taller for a reason. That's what I'm saying.
well, I don't know why we would, if natural selection was the case, I don't know why we would select for something that was less viable.
Because out in the wild, being taller helped you survive more. Now, being shorter, is obvious. Being shorter helped us survive too, because short people exist, like myself, right? So obviously, my ancestors survived somehow, some way. But there is a such thing as cultural selection. Like, for example, the pygmy people in Western Africa, Western and Central Africa, they're actually shorter. They're way shorter than me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the average height of a pygmy person is like 4'11". I'm about 5'5" on a good day. You see what I'm saying? So I'll be taller than them, but that's because like my society selected for that. Their society selects for shorter because it helps them survive. You see what I'm saying? But around the world, the reason why Eastern Africans are taller, Central Africans are a lot taller, and some of them can actually be bigger, and Europeans are a lot taller is because in those environments that helped them survive.
Well, if that was the case, then all of them would be tall. There's variation, and as far as evolution is concerned, how come we're not seeing a gradation of evolution taking place right now?
We
You
are.
see what I mean? Like, okay, so are there some people that are less evolved versus people that are more evolved? If that's the case, then what's the example for that?
There's no more or less evolved. Like, evolution is not a ladder.
Is it not?
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Because it's a selection of genes that are seen fit in the population of that organism.
For your survival. So that
Right.
doesn't mean that it's a ladder. So if just like how I said, the pygmy people of Western Africa are shorter because that helped them survive in that environment.
But still, you're being very mechanistic about this whole existence thing. But I believe that there is a creator. You see what I mean? I believe because this whole thing has been for an eternity, and there is a creator, there is a builder to this thing.
Right.
And
I get that you
I
want.
pray that you find that one day, because this existence is finite, and it doesn't. There's higher beings, there's higher intelligences, just like we are higher than a fowl and a chicken, and they are still life. There's beings that are higher than us that
Bold got cut off. All right, so Bold, I think you were cut off because you started to monologue. I was going to interrupt real quick because of that, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next person. Go ahead and drop some W Jonesies in the chat for cutting off the monologue, because I was about to interrupt you because you were monologuing. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all being here. We got 14.5K people, 45 people in the house. Let's go ahead and keep liking this live and keep sharing it. If you just yap in the comments, I'm going to invite you up. Don't just yap. If you disagree with me, come on up. I appreciate everyone being here. Gideon, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
Yes, and I disagree with why should I believe in God?
Great. So why should I believe in a God?
Okay, so there's a few different approaches you can take with it, but there is overwhelming evidence no matter which approach you take. So I'll start with the scientific, okay?
Sure.
So the scientific approach. So there's actually a principle. I think it was called like the column cosmological argument that states like everything must have a beginning. Everything in the beginning, everything has to have a cause, essentially. And I mean, basically, what is the universally accepted theory of the start of the universe is the Big Bang. But no one really knows, like, based on that principle, that had to have a beginning. Would you agree?
No.
So, what would your idea on that be?
Well, the Big Bang is both a misnomer and is misunderstood a lot because the Big Bang actually doesn't imply that that was actually the beginning of the universe. It was just an expansion of space time. So it wasn't actually the beginning of the universe. We actually don't know what began the universe, or even if it even had a beginning. But even if it did, that wouldn't imply a God.
Okay, so we could scrap that argument. Now we can look at the statistical argument. The chances that are currently in place that for the existence of life are approximately 10 to about 120 power, which, in case you didn't know, that's bigger than the number of atoms in the observable universe. So if one factor in that insanely enormous number, a 1 followed by 120 zeros, if one little factor was different, there would be no life. So it's basically statistically impossible for life to exist without a creator.
Okay. What statistical math was used to come up with that number?
Um, let me research it real
And
quick.
what did they compare it to? Because like as far as we see, hey Kate, I appreciate all the gifts. I do appreciate you, Kate. Thank you so much. Because as far as we know, we only have one universe to explore, right?
Yes.
Right. So what did they compare I'm not proposition. I forgot if it starts with a P. Damn it. I forgot what it starts with. I forgot what the name. But what did they compare this to in order to come up with that number?
Okay, I'm looking at it now. So it says the constants of basic principles of physics and space-time. So gravitational constants, cosmological constants, speed of light, etc., etc.
Right, but that's all within our universe. How did they use that to say that life has only a 1 in 10, 120 times power to exist? What did they compare it to?
But here's the thing, is that the existence of multiple universes is just a theory in itself.
I know that. So what did they compare it to in order to come up with that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
What I'm saying is that when the way that statistics works is that they kind of look at comparisons. If they're saying that life in this universe only had a 1 in 10 to the 120 power to exist, did they compare that to another universe that had more statistics, or what? What did
Okay, I
they
guess I
compare
see
it
what
to?
you're saying. So basically, like all of the possible outcomes that we've observed through scientific experiments and physics and all the observations we made, all of those numbers are finely tuned just for the existence of life. Those numbers are the only supporting factors for the existence of life. There can be no other way.
Yeah, they can.
Could you elaborate?
Because when it comes to the fine tuning, that's only for life as we know it. If you change some constants around, you can actually have stable universes that can arise with life, and they've actually done this math already. So the fine tuning is just what we see in our universe for life and things to exist in our universe, but that doesn't mean that if you change things, you can't have a stable universe.
I guess I see what you're saying. So, okay, now let's ignore the statistical argument. There's still a lot more arguments to be made. The next one is the Bible. So the Bible, I mean, obviously you probably know this, but collection of writings from various historians and writers over time collected into one single book. So what do you think would disprove the truth of the Bible?
What I think would disprove the truth of the fact that the Bible gets things wrong.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it gets things wrong.
Oh,
So that
okay.
shows that.
So could you give me an example or two?
of what they got wrong.
Yeah, like a story or anything.
Yeah, during the Exodus of Ramses, when they tell the story in the Bible, I mean, not, I said Exodus Ramses, I'm sorry. For the Exodus story, they say that King Ramses existed at a certain time. But however, when we look at the historical documents, we see that when the Bible says Ramses, when I said the Exodus would have happened, King Ramses was born 200 years after that. So that's obviously wrong. The Exodus couldn't have happened. And when we actually look at the look for evidence of the Exodus actually happening, there is none. So we definitely
So
know that even like Jewish historians would admit that, yeah, Moses probably wasn't real.
okay, so I've actually seen a lot of theological debate about this, which is it's pretty interesting. Is that for a lot of the Old Testament, it actually doesn't really have a true timeline that's like completely associated with each of the books. It's mostly the New Testament because obviously there's a lot more awareness of the original religion that had already been spread and in place. So a lot of the Old Testament actually isn't really bound by a timeline. So I guess I see what you're saying, um, but like in terms of like why would writings lie? Like that's what I'm trying to say.
Why would they lie? They don't necessarily have to lie, because Homer didn't necessarily lie when he wrote the Iliad. He was just, making
Well, that's
he
different.
was just
That's
trying
like
to
that's like
explain
a
himself as
story.
right. But when Homer wrote the Iliad, he probably didn't even originally write that Zeus interfered in the battle. But like even if he did write that, he probably did think that because it was in his religious culture to believe that if someone pulls off if someone pulls off something that was basically a 1 in 10 chance of happening, he probably thought it was Zeus that interfered. You know what I'm saying? So they don't necessarily have to lie, but they write within their cultural context. And within their cultural context, if Yahweh is this magical, amazing thing, then they're gonna write that volcanoes and earthquakes are Yahweh speaking. And there actually are points in the Bible where where Yahweh is like explained as a storm or a volcano, which actually falls in line with what the ancient Israelites believe, because under ancient Israelites, Yahweh was a storm and war deity. He was the deity of war and deity of storms. The reason why he became the main deity is because they were constantly at war. So it makes sense that the war deity would then become the main one.
Okay, I guess I see what you're saying, but outside of like comparing it to natural disasters and like natural features of the world, which I understand is obviously false and proven by science, but in terms of like there are countless miracles and factual events that have happened in the Bible that prove the existence of God. Like how
Like
would
what?
you just okay, so for example, let me think, there's a ton. Parting of the Red Sea.
That didn't happen.
What do you mean?
It didn't happen. It's a story.
It's a story of how the Israelites escaped Egypt, which is a factual event.
No, it's not a factual event. The Israelites never were enslaved in Egypt. They were Semites in Egypt, sure, and probably some of them were Israelites. But the people who built the pyramids weren't just the Israelites. They weren't even slaves. They were paid. Like, because the Egyptians like kept meticulous records. We know the people who built the pyramids were paid, and we know that the Israelites were not en masse in Egypt. There might have been a community of them and stuff like that, but the entire Exodus story is just a foundation myth. Like they were never massively enslaved in Egypt.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you there, and a lot of the Old Testament books I think are um, vastly what's it called, like swelled up to like I see Genesis as very abstract. It's like basically it was written by Moses. Obviously, he didn't observe the events of Genesis, so he was kind of making it up as he's heard it.
Hmm.
But I think I want to point to the main event of Christianity, obviously the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which they have found scientific evidence that it happened.
No, they
So,
haven't.
yes, they have.
No, they haven't.
Okay, so they do have proof of the existence of a human being named Jesus Christ, the most important human to ever walk the earth. And they have proof that he was crucified on a cross and that he ascended into heaven.
No, they don't. What is the evidence that someone flew into the sky? What evidence is there?
No, it wasn't. Oh my gosh.
I mean, because literally all we have is stories that he flew into the sky, but Elisha also flew into the sky, and Muhammad flew into the sky. There's Japanese stories of people flying into the sky too. As a matter of fact, in West Africa, that's what happened to Shango. That's how Shango became the sky deity, because Olodumare blessed him and he flew into the sky. So should we just take all these stories of people flying into the sky seriously, or were they aliens, or what happened there?
Well, I mean, here's the thing about the Bible. As I said earlier, it was written by first-hand observers, first-hand witnesses.
Not the
Uh,
Gospels.
what
We
do
don't
you
even know who
mean?
wrote the. We don't even know who wrote the Gospels.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
No, those are just the names that were given to it. We don't know who actually wrote it.
Okay, so then how were they assembled?
They were assembled over like a course of maybe 50 to 100 years by the early church, Council of Nicaea, stuff like that.
So you think that the church like got together to make it up to like add to the
What they
story and like complete the
it was
I
an
guess the
oral
saga?
it was an oral tradition for a while, and then someone decided to write it down. But John is probably the one who, well, we know John wrote Revelations, right? John wrote Revelations,
Yes.
but Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John weren't really written by those people. We don't really know who wrote it, because they're not autographed. They're not autographed at all, and they're completely anonymous, completely random. Like they're like the Gospel of Mark. It even says that these are stories that we compiled over time from people. We have no idea who the people were that gave those stories.
Okay. What about the apostles? First-hand witnesses, very close friends, close followers of Jesus, that who all claimed to see him after he had died.
That's in the Gospel of Matthew, right?
I believe so. It was one of the books. I
Yeah.
believe so.
So the thing is, yeah, sure, that's great. And so what would that tell us? That doesn't really
Tell
tell us
us.
anything. I mean, like, yeah,
What do you
it's
mean?
in a
Like it's not enough proof? Like it's not like stone proof? Is that
right,
what you're trying to say?
because holy books are not evidence; they're just claims.
So why would they claim to see him if they didn't really?
Why would they
Like,
come to
what
see
would
him?
there be their like motive behind that?
Well, they could just be lying, or the second thing is that this is just something that someone wrote from someone else. It could just be complete hearsay. Like, for example, I tell you that I saw Gary wearing a red shirt yesterday, and he had a pew pew in his hand, and then I tell you that, and then you go and then you go to Elliot, and you said, hey, Volsi saw Gary with a purple shirt and a bazooka in his hand, and then Elliot goes to James, and James says, hey, you know, this person told me that this person told me that that person saw that person. Like, that's how it could work. That's how telephone works.
So it's like you think it would be like one or two of them claimed it, and then they all started like it's not really like a placebo effect. What's it called? Like a like false panic or whatever.
Yeah, it could.
Like mass hysteria. Is that what it's called?
Right. No, I'm right. That could be mass hysteria, or this event actually never happened. It was just something. It was just an oral event that someone added to the story over time. This happens all the time.
Okay. Another proof for resurrection would be the empty tomb. If if he hadn't really resurrected and the body had been stolen by disciples who uncovered the tomb and found it empty, Romans had complete control over the area at the time. They could have easily recovered it, easily found it, easily stopped Christianity. So why?
Oh well, there could be several reasons why there was an empty tomb. There are grave robbers around the time. We know that. We also know that when it came to the Romans, they usually buried people in mass graves. They almost never put them in tombs, especially if they were like an enemy of the state, which Jesus was considered, which is probably the main reason why he was executed. So he could have just been buried in a mass grave, and the story of the tomb just developed over time.
Okay, so another fact about it were you probably know that women were commonly known to stumble like the four women that stumbled upon the empty tomb. If God had intended for people to know that Jesus had resurrected and he had risen, you might have heard this before. Why would God pick women to be the first witnesses? Because women were obviously not seen as equals back then in that time, and not reliable sources, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm. Who knows? Who cares?
So you think that? So you think?
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that just because it's written that women saw these things doesn't even make it more believable. As a matter of fact, they would use women because they know at that time that women aren't supposed to be believed. So they say, hey, if we say women saw this, that makes it even stronger. Like, because they know that. So why and we know that now. So they actually have more
I
motivation
guess
to use women.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that if God wanted to spread the word of resurrection, he could have just used men, because men would obviously they would have been taken with more seriousness
He
and they
did,
would have been more believed. Well, no, but the first
or the
people
writers
to
did.
uncover. Well, no, like the first people to uncover tomb. Why would God have women uncover the tomb and then start spreading the news?
Here's the problem. The Bible, the Bible. I think this is either in Mark or Matthew. It says that they were told to not say what they said, and Matthew ends. I think it's either Matthew or Mark. I'm not sure what it is, but I think Matthew ends. Not Matthew. I think it's Luke or John. That's one of them. I think Luke ends where it says that the women never told anyone else what they saw. So where did the story come from?
I mean, if it was known that they never told anyone, that's obviously a lie. They did tell people.
Oh, so the Bible has a lie in it.
I guess in that aspect of it,
Yeah, you don't see the problem there.
I do. It's just I just feel like there's too much evidence there
But
that
there
is
isn't
like,
any. All this is just says is for the Bible tells me so. That's not evidence. Like
okay, so
Spider-Man #1 tells me that Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive insect, and now he has the power to lift cars over his head. Should I believe it?
okay, so I guess I see what you're saying is like, yeah, yeah. Okay. So for example, if how do you know the Holocaust really happened then? If you didn't experience it, what we have historical documents, right? From reliable sources.
Yeah, and we can actually go to the tombs. Give
Yeah,
me a
yeah, yeah,
second.
yeah. Like,
Hey,
yeah.
Sheed, go ahead and request to come up because I can't invite you. Yeah, so the we can't use that word on TikTok for some reason.
Oh,
But
really?
what we say, yeah, the HO cost. The reason why we know what happened is first of all, witnesses, survivors, we know that they were there.
Yeah.
We have pictures, we have documentation, we have the Nazis themselves admitting to it that it happens. We have the documentations from the Nazis themselves telling us
Hmm.
what they did. We can go to Auschwitz right now. We have
Yeah. Okay.
written
Agreed.
historical records, et
Okay.
cetera, et
I'm
cetera.
not trying to like disprove that. I'm just trying to. I'm gonna prove a point. So now, how do we know that the American Revolution happened?
Documents, and we have pictures as well.
Yep. Okay. So what about before there were photographs? What would we have mainly relied upon? Oral
We,
tradition and documents, right?
documents, we will rely on the archaeological evidence and
Mm-hmm.
like language data, stuff like that.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So why don't you think we should trust a document that was a primary source back then, eyewitness accounts? Like, how are we supposed to trust any historical document if we can't trust that it was a primary source? Do you get what I'm
Because
saying?
most historical documents also have archaeological data uh, that we can compare it to, like historical relics, and not only that, like historians historians almost always take supernatural stories as like unserious because there's no way to test that. Like for example, I'm gonna bring it up again. The Iliad. The Iliad says Zeus and Hera were, all throughout the battle. Should we take Zeus and Hera as existing?
No, obviously not.
Right, exactly. So if we're not gonna take that serious, why should we take anything else seriously? Why should we take
Well,
any other supernatural claim seriously if we're not gonna take all of them seriously?
okay, I see what you're saying. Um, so where do you draw the line then? Like,
I usually draw the line is that if it has no like not just contemporary sources but like secondary sources, archaeological data, etc., then there's no reason to take it seriously. Like there's some tangential archaeological data that Jesus made access because we know Paul was a real person and Paul wrote that he met James, the brother of Jesus. So like fictional characters just don't have brothers walking around meeting real people. You know what I'm saying? So we just take it as a given that Jesus probably was a historical person, even if we don't have a lot of historical records at that time for him existing, which is why some historians say that he probably didn't exist at all. But we just can take it as given as he probably did, right? But like, so when it comes to the supernatural claims, how do we show that actually real? Like, what like archaeological data do we have that Jesus walked on water? We don't have any of that. We just have a story from a book. Why should we take that seriously? Because like I said, if we're gonna take that seriously, we should also take like Orochimaru and Lady Tsunade poked the samurai sword in the sky and flooded the earth. We don't take Shintoism seriously.
okay, yeah, I see that. Like so you think it's like it's too far-fetched to be real, and there's not enough backing.
Right. There's just not enough backing for it. Now, if someone has proof of the supernatural, sure. Like we'll take a look at it. That'll be great. But until then, no one has done that yet. Give me a second. Hey, Walk with Timothy. You've been crashing out in the comments, and I've already invited you up. If you're not gonna come on up and actually discuss this with me, just shut the fuck up and go away. Because I hate like people just yapping in the comments. I'm really losing my patience with y'all. I tell y'all all the time, come on up and actually discuss it with me instead of being a little complaining bitch and complaining in the comments. Like I'm losing my patience, y'all. If you're just gonna yap in the comments, then my mod is gonna mute you for the entire live. If you actually want to discuss it with me, don't just yap and complain in the comments. Actually, come on up. My bad. Gideon, go ahead.
You're good. So what were we talking about? Oh, like
You're saying that
reliability.
it's reliability.
Okay, um, so you think
And give me a second. Bad Moth of Sand. I'm gonna bring you right up after I talk to Gideon. Give me about. We have about 3 more minutes, Gideon, and then I'm
okay,
move to Bad Moth. Okay, but go ahead.
okay. So in a lot of fairy tale stories that were made up that might have been widely believed at the time, a lot of them don't exist in real places, right? Like obviously in a lot of Greek myths, there's uh, the underworld, for example. Like, okay, do you think the underworld really exists?
No.
Yeah. So I think the difference between that and something like uh, places in the Bible, the place in the Bible actually exists. Sea of Galilee, Jordan River, et cetera, et cetera. You can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so why would they make up stories in these real places? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, they actually go to London. Is Hogwarts a real place?
No, not yeah.
Right. So them mentioning real places doesn't make the actual story real.
I guess so. I guess I'm just trying to say that it adds another level of sort of like a certification.
It doesn't.
I mean, but if people have witnessed, like it's not just some people too, it's hundreds, thousands of people that witness these events
They
in real
didn't.
places that they live in.
But they didn't.
Okay, what about
Like for example, let me give you a perfect example. Right, in Matthew, it said that. Hold on, give me a second. All right, Timothy, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you because like I said before, don't just yap in the comments. If you're not gonna come on up, then I don't want to hear you yapping. I don't want to see you yapping. Okay, actually, come on up. All right. So when it comes to like for example, let me give you an example. Like in Matthew, right? In Matthew, it says that stones were when Jesus resurrected, there was an earthquake. Stones were overturned, and the prophets and dead people rose up from their graves and started walking the streets. Right? Matthew is the only place where we see this. It doesn't say it in any of the other gospels. And what's worse, there's no historical record of that ever happening. Like not even memoirs from people written. Like, for example, we know that people wrote down their memoirs back then, right? There's no record of this ever happening anywhere. We see no type of evidence for this. And we know that people wrote significant events back then because the eruption of Pompeii, that was written by someone in his from his room. You see what I'm saying? Like someone actually saw that happen. But like when it comes to people actually getting up and walking around like a zombie apocalypse, no one wrote this down. So it's like that shows right there that there's something wrong here, especially when none of the other gospels mention it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a fair point to include too. I think that there are some parts of the Bible that are a little, like, okay, is this really true? It's probably like more of a significance of something that happened that, like a popular theory of like the Bible just being a book of fables, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about Paul, who, I mean, he was like widely known as being a persecutor of Christians back in ancient Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And after he saw the risen Christ, he converted. Why? Why do you think that was?
He had a delusion.
So you think that a man who hated persecuted Christians all his life would change around his ideology out of delusion?
Yeah, because people change ideologies out of all the time. Some people have delusions. Some people regret their past. Look at Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd was a member of the KKK, and then he became a liberal Democrat. Now, I never trusted him, but still, that's a story right there. That happens all the time.
Okay, but like such a sudden change, like from completely despising Christians, persecuting them, like like a terrible person, and then to all of a sudden, like if you claimed that you saw Jesus and you told that to other persecutors, like what would they think? Like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but like okay, let's move on.
Well, no, I understand exactly what you're trying to say. Why did he change and convert? Yeah, I get it, but there's a lot of reasons why they would do that. It doesn't necessarily have to make it true.
Okay. Do we still have time? I have a couple other points.
We have about 2 more minutes, and I gotta move on because we've been up for maybe the last like 20 minutes. Richard Schaefer, go ahead and request, and I'll bring you up next. All right. But yeah, let's just close on out, and you can come on next. I do this every Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So if you want to come up next Tuesday, then you can come on up.
Okay.
All right.
Another thing I want to talk about is why would so many people, not just current day, but throughout the last 2 millennia, fall for something that would be a lie?
Well, when it comes to my people specifically, it was just beat into them.
Okay, but I'm talking about like, let's talk about like ancient Europe,
Mm-hmm.
like Dark Ages Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Why would so many people throughout Europe, the entire continent, to be more specific, fall for a lie?
Yeah, because it's a very it's one of those very things. It's one of the things that's very, very enticing, and not only that, you're talking about a time where people were very, very superstitious. Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about a time where people still believe that there was a person in the sky striking down lightning bolts. So yeah, they would probably believe that some guy over in ancient Palestine rose from the dead.
Okay, so then what about now?
Now it's just
How
a
would you
culture.
explain now?
Now it's just baked into the culture, and people don't question it because we're raised not to question it. Like I was raised not to question it. Whenever
Okay,
I had questions
can see
about
that.
it.
That's pretty fair.
Right.
Yeah, I was also raised in Christianity, so obviously I believe the way I do.
Mhm.
Also, Christianity grew rapidly, had its roots mostly in Jerusalem, which is also the place where Jesus was crucified. If the resurrection weren't real, wouldn't that have been easy to disprove?
No, not really, because it's a something that's unfalsifiable. Like for example, if I told you, hey, I have $10 million, but it's buried under the ice shelves of Europa, how can you prove me wrong?
Okay, I don't think that's a good analogy. I get where you're coming from, but
Mhm.
um, I think a better comparison would be like, I don't even know, but okay. My last point, and then we can move on to the next person. It's been great talking to you, by the way. I
Hmm.
really enjoy this.
Yeah, sure.
Within 300 years from the crucifixion, Christianity spread like wildfire across the Roman Empire, despite persecution and outright like death sentences if you were caught practicing.
Hmm.
Why? Why would you take the risk if it was a lie?
Yeah. I can't personally speak to those people, but I can say that people take risks like that all the time. Like, look at the People's Church of Jim Jones. He convinced 900 people to self-delete. I mean, people
Yeah.
can be
So
convincing.
so do you believe it was like wildfire, like after it spread from one person to the next, and then like a combination of that and like superstition? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was kind of like a meme that got out of control. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if a
yeah.
group of people believe something, then they can spread it to everybody else. It could very folks can be very, very convincing, and not only that, like I said, we're talking about a very, very superstitious time. You know what I mean? In
Hmm.
humanity. So if it wasn't Jesus, it would have been Muhammad. If it wasn't Muhammad, it would have been Krishna. If it wasn't Krishna, it would have been Buddhism or Shintoism. Or like if none of that ever happened, and let's say the reverse happened, and Africa was the one that colonized everybody, we would all be worshiping Olodumare. You know,
So you think it's just like a matter of influence?
matter of influence. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to take away from someone else's time, but it's been great to talk to you. I'd love to do this again.
not a
Hey,
problem.
man,
I do
Gideon,
these
if you
every
want to
Tuesday,
stay,
Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday,
I was
Wednesday,
gonna
Thursday.
say,
Got it.
sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to stay, I was gonna have a discussion about religion too. Um, so what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm all right, bad mouth. First, let me say, are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not sure if you want to call it disagreeing, but I think that like religion plays a very important role, and it's good to believe in religion. Whether it's true or not, it's another question. But I feel like you trying to get rid of religion is really bad for society in general.
I'm not gonna deny that religion played a role in civil and probably civilization even being built, which is cool. I just don't think we need it anymore. And there's actually no way to. I'm not trying to get rid of religion. Now I think we should believe it less. Like religion is not really important in our society. But I get that people like to have their own social groups. The issue that I have with religion is when it affects society in the way that it does, like we see now today. But other than that, I don't have any, big problem with someone being part of a religion. If you want to worship, a flying spaghetti monster, go ahead and do it. And just as long as you don't treat me badly because of it, or you don't try to force it in schools, or you don't say let's take away rights from men or women because my book of pasta says so.
Yeah, dude, you say that, but the benefits you get from religion are so much like they offset all the stuff that you just said, all the bad stuff that you just said.
Can you get
There,
those benefits somewhere else?
not in a way that you could get everybody to do that. Not in a way that
But
you
like what?
could like just there's a really famous quote, and I forgot who said it, and I'm kind of bummed about it, but it's something like, I don't believe in God, but I'm glad my mate does. And I know it sounds patronizing, but the thing is that like you got all these people that you give them purpose, and that purpose is rooted in something nice. It's like we do all these good stuff, and then we go to this happy place.
So you're saying that
Yeah,
so you're saying that if people didn't believe in heaven, they wouldn't be good people?
you'd be surprised, but I truly believe that it's not that like they will take a very like nihilistic view of the word, and then like you'd see a lot more people like stealing, because you'd be surprised, man, the amount of people that would not do something bad just because
How do you
Jesus wouldn't approve
Can you
is.
show
how do
me
you
when
explain?
historically atheists caused a dark age or burnt witches at the stake?
What's up, man?
Sure. Okay. So, Badmouth, how do you explain countries and societies that are less religious having a lot less crime?
Because they're rich. They're rich countries. There's no country where people are struggling. And
Right. So that means economics controls your a lot of your behavior, right?
yeah, but it's part of life, Like we're poor
Right.
and we need
So
like
what I'm saying is that you can still believe in something and still commit a lot of crimes, right?
can still believe in something and still, of
Right. You
course.
can be right. So it's not religious that holds people back. It's not religion that holds people back. It's economics.
Yeah, but
In fact,
religion
it's
helps when
often more
economics are not
common
doing
for
well.
religious people to do it because religious people can just be like, "Oh well, I'll just ask God for forgiveness and it'll be cool."
Right.
But the thing is that that's true. That is true. But like you guys don't, and I'm sure. Have you guys been raised as traditionalists? Like, did you guys were you religious as
I
as a
was
kid?
I was raised Christian, and I actually
Yes,
believe that I'm a better person now than now that I'm not Christian.
right. But what about
I
your
went to a
family? Like,
Christian school for 3.5 years, and I'm
yeah,
100% a better person as a non-Christian than I ever could have been as a sheep Christian that didn't question that
Yes.
which was spat at me.
What about do you not see how your family or like a lot of traditional families are being like glued together, and not just glued together, but they're being like they're thriving, man. They're doing better because they
That's not
believe
because of
Can
in.
Christianity. That's called
Mm,
correlation without causation.
right?
You're
That
saying that, oh, well, these people are together, and then you're using Christianity as a God of the gaps fallacy to be like,
It's
oh,
not.
well, it's because Christianity they're staying together. It's
right.
not the God of the gaps fallacy. It's a similar
Yeah.
similar correlation without causation to God of the gaps fallacy.
Right. I would say is that our families staying together, like religion isn't the glue. Is we stay together because we love each other. Like when
Yeah.
my parents found out that I didn't believe in God anymore, they didn't like say we don't love you anymore. Now there are families that do that, which is one of the bad parts of religion.
Which
Yeah, of
that
course.
just proves exactly what you're saying about
Uh,
religion being kind of dangerous. It's kind of intolerant.
my point is that how many people out there don't got nothing going for them except that they're good people, and how
How
they
many people did
quantify being good
atheism
people.
burn at the stake?
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
hold
Everybody
on.
pause. Everybody pause. Let's
Yeah,
talk one at a time.
yeah. So
Bad. What was your
can I
question again?
finish? Yeah, but
Wait, can
like
we go back to my question because I asked it way earlier and
Right.
nobody wanted to
Right.
answer
Right.
that.
I got you. We're gonna go back to that question. But Bad. What was
yeah.
what was your question again? Ask that one more time, please.
Like you guys seem to truly underestimate the amount of people out there that like are they don't got shit going on for them. They're broke, they're poor, they're all that stuff. And you know what? They think it's not that bad. And why is it not that bad? Because at least they're good people. And now you may ask, how do they quantify being a good
Ignorance
person?
is bliss.
Being a good person to them is being a good Christian because they think of it as, oh my God came in and told me to do the right thing. If you take that away from them, it's gonna shatter kind of like the fabric of society in ways that
I
you
mean,
guys are not
but the
like
thing is
aware of.
bad. The thing is bad. No, it wouldn't, because like the things like because you've already said that a lot of people don't commit crimes or aren't depressed in a lot of these rich countries. So it's more it's more of the materials that they have in their lives and the opportunities that are afforded to them and what their society affords to them that makes them enjoy their life. It's not necessarily their religion, because like for example, my parents are from a third world country and they're very, very religious, but people are there, a lot of them are living in absolute misery. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though they're very, very religious,
But they
it's
cling on
not
to
really.
God.
Yeah, they exactly, they cling on to God, but their material conditions are not any better. Like it doesn't make anything better just because they believe in their God. They could believe in God all they want, but they still have to figure out how they're gonna eat the next day. You see what I'm saying?
To
So
be
it's
fair,
like,
he has a very valid point. Like a lot of people
They feel better.
do cling to God as their sort of teddy bear, right? They
Yeah.
cling to God, and for a lot of people, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. If your faith is what makes you a good person, then go off, King. Like
I'll tell you why.
you,
Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm saying this because I'm also an atheist technically, and I try to convert my mom in a sense, or not convert her, but just kind of challenge her idea of what is God. And she's very logical, and I saw that with me getting like my message to her, she was not feeling better about it. She was, distraught. And I was like, yeah, bro, but like maybe you shouldn't talk about religion not being, not being what society needs and stuff like. 'Cause maybe it is, man. Maybe we do need Jesus. Maybe it was developed for a reason. And the fact that it's real or not shouldn't matter.
I mean, it was developed for a reason. There's a reason why religion developed. I understand that, but it's not necessary in our society anymore. Why do we need it?
Yeah, we need empathy more than we need religion.
You guys don't think we need to change religion instead of get rid of religion, or like keep making it more suitable for today's day and age?
Changing it is just going to shift who is in control and how they control you. It's not going to get rid of or relinquish the control itself.
Yeah, we can get rid of it or not get rid of it, but like it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't actually need it. Like we can have community without it. Everything that you're talking about that benefits from religion, community, togetherness, people believing in one common goal, you can have that without religion. You don't actually need it.
No, it's not that. It's
I'm
a
with the
purpose.
host
It's the purpose
100%
of life. It's a reason to live for a lot of people, man.
I have a
It's
reason.
like-
I have a reason to live without religion. I want to help.
If that's the only reason you have to live, then you might want to rethink your
reasons to live.
Well, for some
Exactly.
people, it's like that. Like they don't have anything going on for them. They're broke. They're living in very precarious situations. But they got God.
Then these niggas need to get on their shit, bro. Like they gotta get something going for them.
Amen.
I don't know, man. I understand where you guys are coming from. You guys are like mad at a lie, and I get that because you've been lied to. I've been lied to too, man. I was born. It was like you're going to hell, and then they put fear into you, man. They're like,
I
if you
don't think we're
do
mad
that, and
about
then-
it. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
not mad
over
about
it.
it. Now
I'm
I'm
just
not.
completely over it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm over it, and I would like us to move on to better things because I think religion holds us back in a lot of ways.
It does.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
does. I
What-
mean, when has like I asked before, when has atheism, when has science ever caused a dark age, and how many people have been suspected of witchcraft and heresy on behalf of science and atheism and burned at the stake?
I think that's unfair. It's unfair
How
because
is that unfair?
I'll tell you how it's unfair, man. It's because you're taking like a backward society. Obviously, they were religious. Obviously, they're going to use religion in a backward way. But that's
So
just,
it's
it's a
backwards.
backward society. If it was a backward atheist society, I'm
You
sure
just
they would-
proved my point for me. You just argued my point for me. That
How so?
It's a backwards way of thinking for backwards people.
Yeah, but bro, we were all
Yeah.
backwards.
Argument's over. That's it.
Like, there's
Thank
like
you. I'll
zero-
take my W and leave.
I mean, you.
Well, here's the
I mean, you realize as soon as you agree, the argument's over. That's it.
Not really. Let me tell you why though.
No,
It's
because
Okay,
you
go
just
ahead.
said yeah. You said
It's
yeah,
not about
but
religion. It's
whenever
about the
somebody says
people.
yeah, but that's them contesting the point, conceding the point rather.
the people are poor, uneducated, broke, superstitious. If you give them atheism, or if you give them Christianity, or if you give them Islam, or if you give them Hinduism, it don't matter. They're gonna burn. They're gonna be burning people, man. Like that's just what it is.
Hold on, give me a second, y'all. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Issa, give me a few minutes. All right, I'll bring you up in a few minutes. App sounds, you've been like in the comments. Go ahead and mute up for me. I'll get to you in a moment. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So bad mouth. Like the point is that we're trying to say is this, right? Anything that, like, because I said this earlier with another guest. Whenever we need to explain a phenomenon of the natural world,
Yeah.
what was the explanation? Was the explanation what religion told us, or was the explanation what the science told us?
For the natural world, it was never religion. Yes.
It was never religion, right? Exactly. So it's like it's not needed for us to understand the world, right? It's not needed for us to understand the world. It's not needed for us to understand each other. It's not needed for us to have community. Why do we need it?
The fallacy in that is you equating the natural world with the word. There's more than that. There's a spiritual, spiritual not in the sense of like magic and like spirits and stuff like that. Spiritual in the sense of abstraction. And
Have you ever heard of secular spirituality?
it's good. Secular spirituality is good.
Yeah,
just like
'cause-
Christianity.
Yeah, so even basketball can be spiritual. You see what I'm saying? So we don't necessarily need religion, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, or any of them in order for us to have like a spiritual life. We can all have one without it. What I'm saying is that religion is not necessary for any of these things. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not telling people to not be I'm not religious, or I'm not even saying we should make it illegal. You know what I'm saying? Because the last time we tried to force religion to be illegal, it was under the French Revolution, and yeah, extremely bad things happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe we should do that. We should not be that extreme. But what I'm saying is that we should come to a society where we understand that this thing is not needed to live as a society. And once we understand that, hey, I don't actually need this to live and be a good person, a lot of people would either stop believing it anymore, or stop taking it as fervently, and stop trying to take away rights from women, from LGBTQ people, or trying to set up society in the Christian way or in the religious way that they believe should be set up, like what we're seeing now.
Like I would love to see an experiment of that happening at a large scale. I think that would be disastrous, but if you guys seem to disagree.
How do you explain? So hold on, Bad.
Yeah.
How do you explain the Czech Republic?
They were never that religious. Imagine trying to do that in the South, in the southern, in like the Bible Belt, like
Trying to do what?
Listen,
Like
I'm
not have
gonna
religious
make another
people?
point that you're gonna say is unfair again. Okay, and that is, you say how we vastly underestimate the people who basically need religion to continue to exist. I think you vastly underestimate the people who use religion to hurt others. For example, did you know that about 80% of convicted schmex offenders of children are actually religious leaders?
I think you guys are overestimating that. I think you guys are overestimating that.
No, that's an actual statistic. Like every single large religious denomination has an issue with sexual assault. The Southern
children,
Baptists, the
specifically.
Baptists,
I'm
the
talking
Northern
about
Baptists,
on children.
on children too. Yeah, on children. So if we look at the Catholics, the
And let's
Baptists,
not forget the Bible condones it in Deuteronomy 22:29.
right, exactly. So if we look at large religious organizations like the Mormons, the Catholics, the Baptists, the Southern Baptists, Church of God in Christ, all of them have all had an issue with sexual assault, not only on women but on children. And like it's like every single religious institution, even religious institutions that are not part of a church, like the Boy Scouts.
Wait,
They're
did
also
we
religious
mention the
institutions.
30,000 boys trafficked by the Islamic Jewish temple in Brooklyn?
Yeah, there's that too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Judaism is not, sacrosanct in this either. Like all this happens, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, I understand your point. A lot of people use religion to live a better life and everything like that. What I'm always saying is that, just like how DJ said, if the only thing keeping you from taking out a knife and being a slasher is believing that Jesus is not gonna like you for it, then yeah, I think you're a psychopath. But go ahead and keep that religion. I'll take you to church myself if that's the case. You see what I'm saying? But like, other than that, if you're a regular normal person, you don't need it.
No, you guys are right. I mean, I'm a realist, and I see this not in terms of like individual.
I just want to point out APS sounds whatever.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get to him.
in
I
the
know. We're
comments.
gonna get to him next. Like, that's why I tend to not to pay attention to the comments, because it's distracting. But we'll get to him next.
He's just pointing out whataboutism though.
I got you.
But my point is that I'm a realist, and I tend to look at this stuff at a large scale, at a society scale, and I'm not convinced that atheism is I'm convinced that atheism increases like a feeling of nihilism, of despair that is we see that a lot in societies like Japan, like the Nordic countries, where I know they do really well, but they have like high depression levels and stuff like that, and I think that it brings together a sense of community, a sense of life, a sense of purpose that we're not quite there yet.
That's what I said. Ignorance is bliss. Like, the whole world is a depressing place to live in right now.
Can I point out two things though, Bad? Number one of the things that causes Japan to be so have them have so much depression is their workaholic culture, because in their culture, like, men are supposed to be working 9 hours and become rich for their families in order to provide. As a student, you're supposed to they have crazy work hours. They have
Also,
crazy
we need to
pressure on
point
their
out they have
students.
the highest IQ on the planet,
Right.
average.
Yeah,
Like
so they
that.
have
And those
they
are
have
correlated.
Right, hold on.
There's
Give me-
actually been scientific studies to
Gotcha. Give me a
prove
second.
that high IQ also results in higher levels of depression.
Right. But give me a second. Give me a second. Absence, come back up, bro. We weren't done yet. I'll move on to you next. All right. So like Bat. So like that's one of the things that makes Japan so have a high rate of depression is just their workaholic culture and the pressure of their students. But the other thing that I would say is that when we look at over to the Scandinavian countries, you know what they also have less of? The sun. And you know what causes you to have major amounts of depression? Not
Yeah, I've
being
heard
in the
that.
sun. You know what I mean?
No, I
Well,
believe
'cause
that. I'm from Canada. I 100% believe that, bro. Like
Right.
you don't gotta tell me that.
Exactly, because the most because the state in America that has the most amount of depression,
Probably
Alaska.
Seattle. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
that.
Alaska and Seattle. You know what they have less of a year round? The
Yeah,
sun.
yeah. No,
So
I
you know what I'm
believe
saying?
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. That's very fair. And so I was born in Sudan. I came to Canada when I was like 4. So I'm thinking of this from a Muslim perspective. You know, Islam is well, it's different than most Christian countries. Like Muslims take that shit really seriously, and it's like a way of life, you know, for them. Like they see life as a test, and if you were to convince a Muslim that that's not true, like they spiral out of control, man. And I'm thinking that that's similar with Christians and people, and that's why they fight so like vociferously to, like, you know, all these Christian nationalists and stuff like that. Like they're super into their shit, and that's because they need that shit. They need to be Christian, and they need to have a reason to believe in Christianity.
Yeah, because their life has no purpose without it. They've devoted their entire lives to it.
Yeah,
Right,
I
bro.
would tell them that they would need like massive amounts of therapy and need to come up with a better way to have purpose than just their holy book. Because I came with a purpose of my life. I want to help my people. I'm studying mental health psychology in order to become a therapist in order to help out people in my community, because I've seen someone be unalive before and it gave me PTSD. So I know like I'm from a community that has seen stuff like that before. So I know that they need that help in those communities. Like a lot of crash out behavior we see from the YNs, a lot of them just have PTSD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we need to.
YN? What is YN?
Oh, that's just a saying in our community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Young N-word, just like that. That's what we call it.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the young ones, the youngins. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
Like
get you.
they a lot of that crash out behavior we see from them, they just have PTSD. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I want to help that community out. You know what I'm saying? Especially those who join GDs and those who join BDs and stuff like that. They see their cousins and all that join those organizations, and that's why they do it. They see a lot of traumatic things. So that's my purpose. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I think that these people should also search for a purpose, but I get what you're saying. Islam is everything to them. Christianity is everything to them, and they need it, and they'll spiral out if they don't have it.
Yeah.
That signals to me they need therapy.
But you know what? I've talked to a lot of Christians on here, and I've talked to a lot of Muslims on here, and I have found that when like debating between religion and atheism, it seems to me that like Muslims are a lot more open to debating like the actual possibility that their book might be wrong. Like Christians will fight tooth and nail, and they will justify, and they will be intellectually dishonest and disingenuous, and they will do everything they can to not be wrong.
Can I tell you why? I'll tell you why. Because Muslims think
I'm sorry. Can you
they're
guys
right.
give me 1 second? P Coon, you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
I'm 30 and I don't really disagree with much on the board. I know we're talking about religion right now, and I just wanted to know if like I jumped in like mid thing here, so I just want to make sure, is like the proposal that like society as a whole does not need religion?
Yeah, that's what I would say, but I'll get to you next. Just give me a second.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I think that society needs religion, so I'll go back on mute.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll
All right.
leave soon, yeah. But,
All right. So yeah, we're almost done with Bad. So Bad, you understand everything that we're trying to say, right? You can come in like every Tuesday and Thursday because that's when I do these.
Yeah,
So
dude. I'd love to talk to you about socialism and capitalism. I'll do that another time though. So yeah, I appreciate you, DJ too, man.
sure, not a problem. I appreciate you being up here.
All right.
All right,
Peace, y'all.
see you soon. All right, y'all. W for Badmouth. That was a good conversation. All right, Pecan, you said that you do think that as a society we would need religion.
I do.
Why
Yeah.
do you think so?
I think without it, even as an agnostic person, I think without it, it teeters on a very dangerous line. I think without a lot of the like core teachings of all religion, not just one, like in their own right, they have merit. Without that, I think that humans like they need a leader, they need something to look to, and I think that someone with ill intent, in historically speaking, if times are tough, can go down a very, very, very dangerous path, and one that we, not to go the slippery slope fallacy, but one path that we may, typically we may be going in America.
So you think you think that the world would fall into chaos without it, in other words?
Chaos is one way to put it. I don't think I can say the word on here. I really, the whole censorship thing is tough to talk around, but it's like, it's a worldview. It's the worst worldview to possibly have. It happened in Italy and Germany.
Fascism.
Yeah.
Oh, I can say that?
Naziism.
Yeah.
No. I mean, as a whole, I mean, yes, that, but
But
can you say?
Yeah. You can. I think you can say fascism. Here's the issue, though, Pecan. We're seeing that happen right now.
You can call me
It's
Mike.
happening
That's
under.
easier.
But like the thing is, we see it happening right now, right in America. But it's happening under the lens of religion.
Not
Well,
just.
I disagree. I think that that's like a ruse. I don't agree that
It's not really a ruse. I mean,
it's under the guise of Christian nationalism, but I
Yeah.
disagree, because you look at whose hands they're holding and who's they're really being puppeteered by, and it truly doesn't make any sense.
all right. Well, what I'm saying is that the people who are controlling Christian nationalism, right? They may not be religious or care about religion. I agree with you there. However, they know that utilizing religion, they can get the nationalism and the fascism that they want. So doesn't that mean that if this society was not as religious as it is right now, doesn't that mean that using Christian nationalism or using the language of Christianity in order to trick people into supporting fascism, wouldn't that mean that wouldn't work in a less religious society?
I don't think that you can use Christianity or Christian nationalism as a way into fascism, because fascism
But
does
they're
not
doing it
have
right
any
now.
religious motivation. The state is the religion.
Right, but they're, hold on. But Pecan, hold on. Everybody pause. Pecan, they're doing that right now. For example, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. You realize under Jim Crow, right? The people who defended Jim Crow were using the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're doing it right now. They've always done it. So it's like, it's not something that's impossible. I think if we have a less religious society, what we're seeing right now, where Christian nationalism would be less likely. As a matter of fact, it's not even just Christianity. Look over to India. In India right now, a lot of people are saying Modi is moving more towards an authoritarian regime, and he's moving more to an Indian version of fascism. And guess what he's using? He's using Hinduism to do it. You know what I'm saying? So every single time it's religion.
I'm not caught up on India at all. I'd have to do a little bit of my own research. I'll absolutely take your word for it. I don't think you're being disingenuous. But yeah, I'd like to look into that.
Religion preys upon the weak-minded.
Of course, but that's the thing. There's always going to be weak-minded people in society, and without these cushions like religion, they resort to more dire, more desperate, and a person, a figurehead. It cannot be a singular being. And obviously, I know, like, I'm like kind of like, I don't want to go in circles here, but but that's the slippery slope. I don't want to call you know, America fascist, because that, you know, you call
It already
one
is.
thing fascist and then, or everything fascist and then nothing is fascist, and you know, it loses its meaning. So
The,
I
the
get that.
Sith has already taken control of the Senate, to quote Star Wars. Like, it's a little late for America.
No,
You know.
I get the caution.
I don't think it's late for America.
I get the caution, but like what we're seeing right now is it's straight up it's just straight up fascism. Yeah, if I'm saying like that's what we're seeing right now. We can I even said like the other day to my friends or to a couple of friends of mine, I'm like, it's looking like we're moving more towards neo feudalism. You know what I mean? Like you know how feudal society was, where we were just the serfs to the lords, and the tech bro billionaires are trying to own everything for them to be the lords. But like a friend of mine even pointed out to me, he was like, if you think about that, that's literally just fascism. And I'm like, oh yeah, true. You know what I mean? So that's what we're moving to.
Corporate feudalism.
Corporate feudalism, yeah, is basically just fascism.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't know if there's that much economic gain in fascism.
I mean, under fascism, like everything is just work. Is just to work for under the authority of the state and have like the hegemony of the state.
Economically motivated.
Right. Like
So,
it's.
so are you aware about the executive order that Donald just signed recently, saying bringing back the DEATH penalty?
No, I don't know what that is.
The DEATH penalty?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't realize you were spelling that out.
Yeah.
My bad, bro.
I
Yikes.
could say the unalivement penalty.
Yeah.
But whatever. Anyway, so he just signed an executive order that is supposed to bring that back on a federal level. And in that document, one of the things that is constituting the unalivement penalty is illegal immigration.
Mhm.
And he signed a document to house 30,000 illegal immigrants in, sorry, I should say, not illegal,
Undocumented?
I should say undocumented immigrants in Guantanamo Bay, which, mind you, only has a capacity of 800.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? Set up tents? Make it a
Yeah.
con camp?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they definitely don't want to hear it called that, do they?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what it is.
I mean, here's where I knew that, you know, they were using Christianity in order to push their like nationalist and fascist goals, right? There was a preacher that Donald Trump went to go see after he became president, and that preacher said, like, have mercy on the people who are scared right now, like, be kind to people who are afraid and stuff like that. Literally what Jesus said in the Bible, right? And they took that as, you know, a message of wokeness and weaponized empathy and not having empathy for the poor and the poor aren't blessed and stuff like that. Once I saw that, that's when I realized that, you know, the Christianity that they're spreading or the Christian message that they're spreading is not one of, you know, charity or of loving or of not being judgmental or, you know, the blessed are the meek, et cetera, et cetera. It's one of like what we saw back in the days of imperialism, one of conquest, one of my way or the highway, one of I'm Christian, you're not, therefore you're a heretic and I can take you out. That's the Christianity that they're pushing. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit of a nightmare. And what's also scary about what Donald Trump, the executive order that he just signed as well, is not only bringing back the unalivement penalty on the federal level, but also another one saying that only he can interpret what the law is.
Right.
He doesn't have the power to do that, by the way.
Being above the law,
Yeah.
beyond reason.
Luckily, the judges can still
All right.
stop that.
Can I
one.
hold on a second? I just want to yeah, I'm just getting like super black pilled right now.
No,
Like, I know
I'll-
you're
I'll
not
go,
trying
bro.
to do that, but
Yeah,
yeah, dude, it's like
It's scary. I feel you.
Really,
He's
yeah.
gonna get stopped. He's gonna get stopped. Here's the thing. Because the last guest talked about nihilism. Like, I believe in optimistic nihilism. Like, you know, nothing matters, but that doesn't matter because like I make my own matter anyway. He's going to get stopped. You know what I'm saying? Because something like that, it just can't go through. He's gonna get stopped. You know what I'm saying? So
I'd like
it's
to-
not completely hopeless. We can stop him. It's just that all these things that he's doing, like I said, he's doing it under the lens of Christianity, which is
Yeah.
why I think it's having a very religious society. it can like I think we needed religion in ancient times in order for us to get better. But this is one of the reasons why I say we don't need it anymore, because this is what they use it for. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my point. That's what I'm trying
I
to say.
think big picture wise, like me and you are on like the same side. And you know, maybe we just have like a few different just ideals in terms of like, or maybe I'm just like still on my path, you know, I'm still trying to figure it all out.
I mean, we're all
Right, I got you.
We're supposed to be on the same side.
Yeah, I'm not here to, you know, debate like this grand thing that you are speaking to, because I think
Right. I feel you.
like an intelligent person, the same to you, to the other guest.
Mhm.
But I don't think I really have too much else to contribute to this intellectually. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great night.
No problem. No, you contributed a lot, bro. This was a good discussion. I don't mind. You know, I mean, we can always like have slight disagreements and, you know, still come to a good conclusion even if we don't agree all the way. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons on my point was like that's one of the reasons why I think we don't need religion anymore. But like even if you still think that there's still a point to religion, that's fine. I mean, we don't have to agree all the way. Like it's good intellectual exercise. Like I appreciate you being up here. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like concede or whatever and like be
Yeah, of course. Like I didn't think you were either. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to all the way agree. But I appreciate you being up here anyway, man. It's good to it's good to talk to someone like it's good to talk to an honest interlocutor. You feel me? So, but
Yeah.
again, don't feel black pilled. We can stop all this. We can still stop all. There's still hope. You know what I mean? And that hope is in just the massive incompetence that's happening. Because I saw a video the other day that says that these people are so incompetent that what they're trying to do may not happen because no one knows how to do it. You feel me? So don't get black pilled yet. There's still hope. You feel me? No, there's still a lot of hope, and we can't stop them. I actually believe that, and this is just my naivete. I actually think a lot of conservatives themselves would actually want to stop it. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
not completely hopeless. You know?
All right, man.
I
Hey.
appreciate you, Pecan.
Hey, wait. Before you go, are you old enough to remember in the early 90s?
I was born in '94.
Oh, well, never mind then.
No, tell them what happened in the early 90s. Go ahead and tell them what happened.
So in the early 90s, we had, before Bill Clinton, we had George Bush Sr., right?
Mm-hmm.
And George Bush Sr., I remember as a kid thinking, what a stupid idea this is. He cut funding to the American education system to move that funding over to the war on DRUGs, right? And the stupidest thing about that is like, if you want kids to grow up and not do DRUGs, where does that funding need to be?
In education.
Right. Right. And so I thought, like, this is the most. I was 6 years old, and I remember this, and I remember thinking, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, 6-year-old me, and I'm like, if you cut education, then aren't you just having to pay more down the road for that war on DRUGs?
Yep.
So, you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of like, that's why, you know, when I was saying religion preys upon the weak-minded, like, you got to keep in mind, all the people that say America's a Christian nation, well, obviously they haven't done their homework, because in the Constitution, the First Amendment, it is stated that the separation of church and state is paramount to a free society.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they can stick that in their pipe and smoke it, which is probably why they want to get rid of, you know, the Constitution now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But Con, I do appreciate you. But again, don't feel black pill, bro. We still have hope. All right.
All
Don't
right,
give
bro.
up.
Have a good night, man. Take it easy.
You too. Appreciate you. Hey Taylor Tom. I know you're friendly. You probably want to talk to the last guy.
Actually, I had a point that you touched on.
Sure.
To not be black pilled, A, but B, as terrible as it is, Trump is in the best place he could be, because
Mm.
he's all about himself. Like the stupid stunt with the NASCAR race showed. If we leave him alone, he's just going to go and fillet himself for another 4 years. Uh, you know, so
He's gonna glaze himself.
yes. So that's because he's incompetent and he's a narcissist, and he's all about the adulation, and he doesn't give a shit about the job. You gotta
Mm.
watch out for the muskrats, because that's the danger.
Mhm.
But I'm not in a really big hurry to get rid of Trump, because Vance is completely owned by Peter Thiel, and that things will go sideways in a great big freaking hurry if they Section 25 him.
Yeah, there's an actual competent person who wants to do what they got. Yeah, I mean, because right now, Doge and this is what I've always said, man. Why do people believe Elon Musk is smart? He's an idiot. But like, that's why, like, things like Doge and all the executive orders that Trump is trying to do is like, none of this is gonna go anywhere because the people who are under him have no idea what the fuck to do. They don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this is not going to go through. But yeah, if Vance is in the position and and Peter Thiel is controlling him, then yeah, it's a lot scarier than at that point.
Yeah, because he is a soulless automaton that will do whatever his masters bid him to do.
Mhm.
So that's when we're going to be in a lot of real trouble. But anyway, that's all I got, man. Thanks for having me up.
Not a problem. I appreciate you, Jonesy. How's it going?
Hey, I wanted to join in on the conversation. I thought it was interesting that you brought up about people not knowing what to do, right?
hmm
How much do you know about Mao in China?
just a bit. But I think he had the same exact issue, right?
Yes, the Great Leap Forward.
hmm
I try to bring this up with people. A lot of people aren't like up on it, but I get it. It's Chinese history. In America, we're very American forward with our
Yeah.
history, but it worked out exactly the same way. He got to a point where people got behind, I guess, his leadership strategies. He became the leader or whatever. Um, he took out all of the intellectuals. He discredited the media. He discredited, scientists and intellectuals who were contributing to society.
hmm
And then because he wanted to become industrialized and come out of isolation, which I think is kind of funny because we're going into isolation, he destroyed their economy. Millions of people died from famine. He destroyed their agriculture. He destroyed so many facets of life for them, like millions of people unalive. And it, I just think I think the similarities between the Great Leap Forward and this election mirrors more closely than the H cost. I know people like to go to the H cost, like,
hmm
initially. I guess that's because it's what's stapled in our mind the most.
Right.
But I really think that the Great Leap Forward is something that we all need to really look into because it's so similar. It's so similar. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. You know what I mean? Now, um, even though it can be stopped just because of all the incompetence, there are still people who are going to be damaged. We should still be like concerned about that. But like, don't lose hope, y'all. That's what I will say. Do not completely lose hope because it can still be stopped, and all the incompetence can, all the plans that they have for like doing an H
Project
cost on
2025.
yeah, doing an H cost on LGBT people and undocumented immigrants, it can be stopped or not even start because of such incompetence. But we should still be concerned because of what Jonesy pointed out. That incompetence can ruin a lot of things, like what they're trying to do with Social Security. The fact that he doesn't know that it works on a COBOL system and not the system that he thought it did, and he was going to cut off all this funding to Social Security, would have caused a lot of issues. You know what I mean? But
I
I guess
mean,
luckily, I'm sorry. Go
but
ahead. Go
he
ahead, Jonesy.
but he already did what I guess you would call a paper G side on the LGBTQ community
hmm
or the
Yeah.
the trans community. He did a paper G side. So I mean, again, it can only go so far. I get it. I live in DC, so
hmm
we are surrounded by this stuff all the time. But it's just frustrating because again, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people who are affected by this. Like all of the people who couldn't get into their VA portals, um, lots of nonprofit programs who had to turn people away because they weren't sure what was going on. There's been people let go because of impending tariffs. People are not getting bonuses. The mass layoffs of federal employees. It's it, you know, all of these things are going to have a ripple effect, whether they are reversed or not. And I think the craziest part about all of this is, I never hear anybody bring this up when they talk about the thing with Doge. Doge is supposed to be saving us all of this money. But what about all of the lawsuits that they're going to have to pay out for these wrongful terminations? That's going to cost us a lot of money.
What
No
about
one
the
talks about
22
that.
million for Trump to go to the Super Bowl and bring all of his Social Security with him?
Yeah,
Secret Service with him.
yeah, his social. No, you're right. His social security.
No president. Yeah, his Social Security. Yeah, no. So, I mean,
And only stayed for half the game.
right, and no U.S. president has ever attended a Super Bowl before. Like, you want to talk about wasteful spending? I guarantee you, Musk is not going to even bother to look into that as wasteful spending.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, when you touched on that, I was like, I wonder how much Volsey knows about, the Great Leap Forward. But yeah, great talk. It was nice talking with you, the GD Juggernaut. Glad
Yeah,
I
for
let you
sure.
up.
There
I
was
usually
famine
I
under.
usually don't let too many people up here.
There was famine under Stalin too. Wasn't
Yeah.
just now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there have been a couple of communist nations that have had really bad famine.
And I think that part is also funny because during the election it was a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Kamala is a communist," but you guys are falling into a communist trap.
Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right. So it's been good for tonight. This was a good discussion, but I'm out of guests now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Juggernaut, I appreciate you being up. Jonesy, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all of my mods and all of my guests. I'm just gonna let you down for a bit while I end this. I appreciate you, though, Juggernaut. I appreciate all y'all being here. I appreciate everybody in my YouTube chat. All you are great. I'm going to post a lot of these clips and then within the next few weeks. Well, the next few weeks, I'll be seeing a lot of these clips being posted. I also have a YouTube, y'all. Go ahead and follow my YouTube, Volsey Thoughts. It's the same one. Now, I do these every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. So I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate all the guests. Once again, I do have a subscription goal, y'all. Please consider subscribing if you want to see me do more of these, see the production get better, me get better mics, better cameras, everything like that. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to me because I do have that goal in mind. Y'all help me get to that subscription goal. At least help me get to 10 by the end of this month. At least help me get to about 2,500 subscribers by the end of this month on my YouTube. Watch all the videos. I appreciate y'all. Let's close this out with a prayer. Lord Olodumare, I pray that the black community lets go from homophobia, transphobia, gender wars, and diaspora wars, and any conservative propaganda. In the name of Umar Johnson, peace, y'all. I appreciate y'all being here, all right? Peace.